All right, Christina, it's now time for our most anticipated time of the night, kicking off the WHAS Crusade for Children. So let's go ahead and walk on over.
So we're going to be passing off the reins to Elle and Steve.
Yes.
They're going to be on air all night long, entertaining, informing, keeping up with everything WHAS Crusade.
Exactly. We've been waiting all year for this. I mean, 70 years of this amazing work.
It's so impressive just how much money is actually raised each and every year, and watching how our community comes together.
Yeah, it's really impressive. I mean, they hit the ground running in every single community here in Kentucky and Southern Indiana. 100% of your donations help children with special needs. So we're super excited to get this started.
Hey guys.
Hello guys.
How's it going?
How are you guys doing? You ready for the long overnight?
So that I'm on my third cup of coffee.
There you
I
go.
have a fourth and a fifth, coming up here soon, but I can't be more excited to be a part of the 70th Crusade for Children.
Is it your first time as
It
well?
is my
Okay,
first.
it's mine too.
I think what was so cute is earlier this week, some firefighters actually came to your house.
Oh, I know. I just had to get a picture with them. That really brought things full circle and literally close to home.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Because they pulled up outside. I actually met the firefighter earlier that day when he was here visiting. And so just what a full circle moment that was. And of course, I dug deep in my kids' piggy banks and then my wallet for anything I could find. Yes. It wasn't a lot, but it was all I had.
Hey, everything matters. Everything matters here. So.
And then, Bobby, this is your second year?
Yeah, second one, but this is my first one, of course, in person.
All right.
Last year I saw the excitement with all the remote locations, but it's amazing to have it back right here in the studio.
Yeah.
So it's my first time with this experience, so I'm excited.
I know.
And I know you're a staple, obviously.
Yeah, this is my.
This is his 39th
Yes.
Crusade.
Wow.
I mean, he's a vet here now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's impressive.
Yeah. So
Each and every year. Do you usually do the overnight
I've
show?
done the overnight for about 26 years.
wow.
Started with Vance, who we'll talk to in just a few moments. And I started volunteering when I was 10 years old with my dad as a runner between the accounting department and the studio. So, and I just keep coming back.
I see that a lot too. That seems to be a common theme, especially with all the events we had earlier today. A lot of the adults now were talking about, I got involved with my own parents or my grandparents when I was 5 or 6 years old, and now here they are volunteering themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah. Saw a guy who was out at Fern Creek, I believe. He said it was his 46th crusade. He was 45 because he started when he was 1.
No,
riding on the fire truck
mathing.
with his parents. So got to count every year,
That's
right?
probably in the record books.
Yeah.
For Crusade, right? You think?
Absolutely.
It's gotta
Absolutely.
be.
Okay, well, we're gonna let you all kick this off. We're so excited.
All right. Well, thank you all for walking over. We'll talk to Joe Arnold here in a couple minutes
Have
too.
fun to you guys.
Yeah. All right, guys, have a great evening.
Thank you.
Well, Elle, welcome to overnight.
Yes, thank you for quite the welcome. I am so excited to be here, my very first crusade. I can't be happier to be asked to do this, and us alongside you, 39 years.
Yeah, we have
Yes.
been off for 3 years due to
She's so
COVID.
petite.
The crusade continued, but we are glad to be back in
No,
historic
I need
Studio
the
H,
giant.
and with the 70th Crusade for Children. So
70 continuous years. It's the longest running telethon on a local news station, which is absolutely insane, and we're just so glad to keep that tradition going.
absolutely. So we got some great stuff planned for you this evening. We have David Gerard and Ken Abbott, who will bring a little magic to you. You probably saw David on the variety show out at Paristown right before Lance Burton came on. So it'll be good to have David. Dave and I have been friends for a long time. Joe Federley, who is a historian here.
Oh my gosh, every
at,
time I talk to Joe Federley, it's always such a great time. He's just a wealth of information. I cannot wait to talk to him.
Joe will be joining us. We'll talk a little crusade through the decades.
Yeah.
And I've got a treat because I called some of my friends. We're going to walk over here, Elle, and I want to introduce you to some of my friends who I worked with at WHAS Radio.
Yes.
And also some of them worked at WHAS TV as well. This gentleman here in the center, or next to me, is Vance. Hi, Van.
Moving Van Vance. That's me. How you doing?
So, I see. I think Terry referred to you as smooth talking Vance.
Well, I got a lot of nicknames. Van Lon, the only thing that sticks to it is love, but the one that I get the most is double V's.
Double V's.
Double V's.
Yep.
Love it.
Van, you started at HAS in the 50s, 57,
Yeah.
and 58 was your first crusade for children. Next to Van is Joe Arnold. Joe and I worked overnights for several years when Joe took over for Van. Van and I did the overnight for a couple of years before Van retired from radio. And then next to Joe is my friend Jack Fox, who started this whole thing for me. He got me on, got my foot in the door at HAS Radio. So welcome, guys. We're glad you're here.
We have to hear Jack's voice. You can't say Jack Fox. You have
Without
to hear
hearing
Jack
Jack Fox, yes.
While on the moving sidewalk, please stay to the right. That's as far as we go.
I'm sorry. Just
Why don't you all keep that one?
Yeah, you keep- we'll
in the
share over here.
airport. Folks, you hear this voice, tell them to stay. Which side should they stay on?
Stand to the right, of course. Stand to the right.
the classic voice of Louisville and beyond.
Yep.
Well, one of the most famous stories is Gary Burbank was going through the airport and he heard Jack's voice and he said, "Hi, Jack." He wound up in jail.
It doesn't play well at the airport, does it?
Yeah,
Hell, we could probably just go sit down for about an hour, and these guys could just
Honestly,
handle
they can
it.
just take it away. I mean, it's my first time here. It's not your first rodeo, so I'm sure you can take it from here,
It
guys.
took 2 minutes for me to
Might be
steal
our
Steve's
last
microphone.
I'll never get it back.
yeah.
Hey, so Van, your first crusade was 1958. We couldn't find anything that old.
It's too old.
Joe couldn't find it,
Well, I
unfortunately.
can sing the songs.
You wanna
if
sing some of the
want right now. Yeah.
So in 1958, Jimmy Nelson, Marvin Miller, Bobby Hackett, Gretchen Weiler were the entertainers. It was at Memorial Auditorium. It was held in September that year, September 20th of 58. They raised $188,000. And the crusade moment was PRP issued a challenge and inspired other fire departments to raise money for the crusade. So that's kind of the year that the firefighters got involved.
They started a cascade. That's one reason the crusade has raised, what, $200 million?
Yeah,
or
over
so.
$200 million this year.
And Pleasure Ridge Park, they got where they would come in last or in the last few hours, and then all of the other fire departments said, "Wait, we'll show you something." So they all started competing, and that was the way it happened. And some of the early people that as we go along tonight, we can talk about other things, but Victor A. Scholas was running this organization and did a fantastic job of starting the crusade. Sam Gifford was the program director of television. Dick Sweeney was his assistant. And what a job they did. They're the men who were standing around telling us what to say, what to do, and putting it together. And it was going real well, but once they got the firemen, the Pleasure Ridge, and then all of the organizations, it was like an avalanche from then on and down through the years. Pretty unbelievable.
Well, like I said, we couldn't find anything from 58, but we did find something from 1963, which would have been a few years into your time here at HAS. So let's take a look back at the 10th Crusade. This is the opening of the 10th Crusade.
Stars are here to play and sing a tune. We'll sing and dance and if by chance we're able to, 1963 WHAS Crusade for Children. To this stage tonight have come television and recording stars from across the nation. Throughout Kentuckiana, hundreds of volunteers have offered their services. But here are the real stars, the physically and mentally handicapped children of Kentucky and southern Indiana. Whether or not their lives can be made worthwhile depends on you. Tonight, you'll see such stars as Master of Ceremonies Jim Walton, Jay Willoughby, star of the Stephen Foster story, Randy Atcher, Cactus and the Red River Ramblers, Phyllis Knight and Carol Slayton, Joanne Hale and Sherry Sizemore, Bobby Lewis and Janet Brooks, the 1963 Crusade King and Queen, Louisville's barbershop champions, the Thoroughbred Chorus, the Patsy Bloor Dancers, the conqueror of countless cats, the incomparable Mighty Mouse, the nationally popular Pope Russell Dancers, New Orleans jazz immortal Red Allen, singer, actor, and bowling host of Make That Spare, Johnny Johnston, star of nightclubs and television, ABC Paramount recording artist June Valley, the corn-pone humorist of Deadpan Alley, Homer and Jethro, and the 1963 Crusade for Children chorus, the Motet Singers.
Tear down the hollers and bring up the dollars when you raise this crusade as you do. Dig a little deeper, all these children depend on you. Now, on with the show!
And now, here's your master of ceremonies for the next 16 and a half hours, Jim Walton.
Quite the intro. I don't think you can beat much of that, but something I thought that was really interesting was the Crusade King and Queen. So what was that?
Okay, Sam Gifford had a program called High Varieties. And when he left that program, he put me as the MC. And it had started that even before. It was on Saturday at 6 o'clock, an hour-long live that featured teenage talent, singers, dancers. The Johnny Schrader combo played and accompanied them. Later we had bands and things. When I took over High Varieties, Here's Now. So each week we would have a winner, vote a winner of the King and Queen. The next week we'd have 2 more winners. The week before the Crusade, on that Saturday, High Varieties are Here's Now, all of the winners would come back and they would pick the
top 2.
and then they would appear and be crowned at the Crusade and sing, each would sing a number on Saturday night like tonight.
That is so cool. I feel like we need to bring that back, don't you think?
Yeah,
I think we
it's
should bring
nice.
it back
You know,
eventually.
there are a lot of people that say we should bring the king and queen back.
I feel like
Elle
you'd see-
is the new queen of the Crusade.
Yes.
Stevie the king?
70th anniversary.
All right,
We're
King
King
and
and Queen. There we go.
If we had a crown, we put it on.
All right, there we go. Well, we do have a big disco ball right over there of the Crusade, which is very, very cool.
Yeah.
But I love looking back at all these, throwback pieces, and including, let's see, who's that first Crusade right
Yeah,
there?
that's from 1973. Van, before we get there with Jack's first Crusade, what are some of the other memories that you have of your Crusades? You were telling me that you started wanting to be on the all-night show. What tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I worked the Crusade quite a bit. I worked on stage, and I can remember the first night, Jim Walton, the Crusade was a success from the beginning, but he was the main man. Everything went through him. He would be standing on stage, and all these people would be lined up behind him, and it was hard to get them through. They had to wait a long time, and I can remember on one of those first ones that Sam Gifford and Dick Sweeney called me over, and they said, "We're going to put a mic out there for you, and when Jim gets through, we've got people who are lining up behind you. You interview them and then pitch it back to him." And that's when we started getting more people faster. And then years later, they had to get them through as quickly as they could. But I remember how the people who would come in, they had the name entertainers, the national name entertainers, and they would come in and how they would really get into the flow of the whole purpose of the crusade, the spirit of it, and all of that. And one of the champions, there's no doubt, was Doc Severinsen. He had a trumpet. He could run around through these studios blowing that trumpet. He got your attention. And he really got into the spirit of the crusade for children. He was here, he was there, he was everywhere. He hardly went back and took a nap. And he, to me, was about as good. And I saw tonight, in looking at the history, I'd forgotten that, he was here in 65 and he did so well they brought him back in 66. Now, one of the unusual things is they brought a famous singer, a country singer, Tammy Wynette, one year. And Tammy, of course, had that real great hit song that everybody's heard. And Tammy came in and she did her songs with the band and she sang, but she didn't seem to, she never felt the spirit. It just didn't seem to hit her that much. And all of a sudden the next morning they said, "Where's Tammy?" They said, "She's gone back to Nashville." And I guess she wanted to go back and stand by her man. I don't know, but she never really got in the flow that much. Maybe George was drinking that week. I don't know what happened.
Maybe.
Those are a couple of the memories of some of the highlights of the people who came here.
It is, it's 7 minutes after midnight. You're watching the Crusade for Children on WHAS TV and listening on 840 WHAS in Louisville. And we're glad that you're here. I am joined with Elle Bottom, who is co-host this year of the Overnight. We're excited to be back after a 3-year hiatus with COVID. And we brought some of our friends, Vance, Joe Arnold, and Jack Fox, in to remember some past Crusades. It's just that to have these guys here is
It's
really
legendary.
cool.
It's
is.
very legendary amongst all these, WHAS alumni, and just looking through that past footage has just been really, really fun.
Let's jump ahead to 1973. I'm sure Van's got some more stuff that he wants to talk about. Jack, that was your first crusade.
It was, yes.
You had come from
I came from KOA in Denver.
Denver, right?
And 73, and I was like most new people here. I had no idea what the crusade was, and I was blown away. We were at Memorial Auditorium at that time. I think 74 was probably the last year we were there, but it was amazing. The people, the atmosphere, I just couldn't believe it, and was hooked, of course, after that. So I do have one funny story there. Can I tell that one story? You want to wait a minute?
Let's show this clip
Okay.
first.
Okay.
Yes, it's your 20th crusade.
Yeah.
So let's take a look. Maybe?
If not, Jack has a great story.
Yeah, I mean, we could tell the story. We want to try that.
Jack, let's tell the story first, and then
Should I
we'll
tell the
take
story?
Yeah, go ahead. Then we'll take a look at McLean.
One of the
from
stars
that.
was McLean Stevenson. He was with MASH and all that. And I did not witness this, but Ray Shelton, longtime announcer here, told me this story, that late at night when the phones weren't ringing, not much was happening, McLean was a real clown. And he told somebody that if I'm a pole vaulter, I was a track guy, and if you can find me a pole, I will run down the aisle and vault over the orchestra pit. We had a live orchestra, and get on stage, and people will pledge, liven things up. No problem. They found a big bamboo pole in the basement somewhere with the carpet around it. McLean stripped down to his shorts, ran down the aisle with this pole, hit the orchestra pit, flew up, and the pole broke. Landed right in the middle of the orchestra pit. He did liven things up.
I'm sure it did.
Ray Shelton told me that story. So.
Oh my
And Ray
goodness.
would not tell a lie.
In the meantime, our insurance adjuster has said,
I was going to say, like some workers' comp.
Those days are over.
because Van was about ready to get up. I could sense it.
Yeah. We're not going to pole vault tonight.
Well, we'll try one more time. Let's see if we can bring you a clip from McLean Stevens from the 20th WHAS Crusade.
Let's welcome McLean Stevenson. I'd first
like to thank the Academy for nominating me for the Emmy. I'd like to thank our producer and our director and all the...
Mac, that's the Emmy Awards are tomorrow night. You've been nominated, but you haven't got one in your little hot hand yet, you know.
Where are we now?
We're standing right in the middle of the stage at Memorial Auditorium in Louisville, Kentucky. Ever hear that?
I'd like to thank the Memorial Stage and Louisville, Kentucky, where I'm standing in the middle of. I'm just kidding.
Big Daddy, it's the Crusade for Children. You've got the button on
I know. And Jim has been one of my closest friends, and I've been a fan of his for years.
You never met me until yesterday.
Walters is one of the nicest. Jim Walton.
Thank you, Mr. Swanson.
On behalf of the cast and the crew and everybody in the band and the children, we want you to know that nobody likes you.
Did you take a vote?
And we think it's dumb that you wear a cheap hairpiece and phony glasses and a rubber nose.
That is my hair.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I wish they either had a taller mic or I had a broken back at the time, because this must look kind of dumb, but I don't sing.
Be my guest. Does your stomach talk?
Thanks, Jim. It's been wonderful working with you. Want to get off?
Work, too.
Right. I don't sing. I do dance a little, but not too long ago I had a hernia operation. Let's hear it for the hernia. Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And I know my surgeon and the surgical nurse and all the people at the St. Joseph Hospital, my hometown, are very proud tonight. But I would like to do a little dance for you, and though I am in a little pain, I'll do my best. I'd like to do East Side, West Side. East Side, West Side, dummy.
Well, that was too funny. That was too funny. And I just heard from Joe Federle, you know, WHAS historian, that the Emmys were actually the next night. So I think he got his dates a little confused, I think. But some little tidbits about the 73 Crusade. $756,000 was raised. The King and Queen, of course, that year. Let's see, some of the grant recipients, the Kentucky agencies received over $500,000, which is absolutely incredible. And then for the Indiana agencies, $182,000. And it's just grown tremendously over that period of time, and 70th year. So get on the phone lines, donate now, 582-7511, and you can even Venmo now with technology. Apple Pay, Venmo, the Crusade, and you can even include the fire station to get the funds over to them.
Jack, you did a lot of different things during Crusades. In that first clip from '63, we saw Milton Metz, who was a legend here at WHAS, who's passed away, but his legacy still lives on. He was doing some offstage announcing. You did that for the Crusade.
I did some, yes. And a few years we sat at a booth right upstairs here and described to the radio audience what was going on in the studio. We did that. I enjoyed taking our mobile van out with a microphone and interviewing people during the day as they're collecting money and hitting all the sites. The thing I most enjoyed over the years, though, was the firefighters when they would come in. And downstairs at that time, they would have food for the firefighters and just sit and talk with them and appreciate how much they worked and how hard they worked and their dedication. That was the touching thing. Really. And then, of course, watch the kids and how they were affected.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's interesting. How much money was raised in '73? We thought that was a lot then. We really were blown away by that.
Over $750,000.
We thought that was a lot of money, I remember the year they went over $1 million, and then $2 million. Amazing,
yeah. Well, Van, I started working for HAS Radio in high school, believe it or not. And in '97, Bud Harbsmeyer, who was the CEO of the Crusade at the time, stopped me in the hallway and said, "Hey, Steve, what do you think about doing overnights?" And I said, "Absolutely, I'd love to." And I had the pleasure of working with you for a couple of years. I believe this clip is from the '98 Crusade overnight. So this would have been our second year, probably your last year on the Crusade.
I retired in '99.
Yeah. So we've got here's a couple minutes of you and I hosting the overnight Crusade. Take a look at this.
How about that?
Hi, everybody. This is Vance here, and our Crusade telecast now switches from the Center of the Arts to our downtown studios, good old Studio H here at WHAS TV. And this is the all-night Air Force. You're looking at it right here. Yours truly, Vance. I've been on a few of these, Steve. And Steve Kirkland has joined me this year.
That's right, man. Good to be here.
Donna Lace is going to be working elsewhere on the Crusade. And I promise not to call you Donna
And I
during the night.
appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot.
But we really enjoyed working with Donna. And as I said, I saw her on the news a moment ago. And she's going to be working elsewhere on the Crusade this weekend. Sure. And it's good to have you in here because I've told you about how much fun we have all night here.
I'm glad to be here with a veteran for my first time on the Crusade for Children. And it's good to be here.
All right, now here's the thing we're going to do, folks. We're going to be entertaining you all night long as usual, and the great thing about this, you get to go back and relive a lot of the Crusades and see the many, many great stars have been here down through the years, entertaining and bringing in money for the children.
That's exactly right. And we're glad to be back here. We just heard the phone ring for the first time.
Yep.
I want people to pick up the phone right now and call 571-2345 or 1-800-444-8484 and make these phones ring. These operators have been here for quite some time. We just had a shift change. They'll be here all night with us, and we want you to call and keep them busy, and the phones are going to keep us awake tonight.
Yeah, that's right. We'll be meeting those operators, and that's the thing. I was going to say, we'll be here to entertain you, also to keep those pledges coming in to hear those phones ring. So you see our operators back here. Our number's 571-2345. Our total, we just went over that $700,000 mark, $706,488. And we want to hear the phones ring not only when we're here with you, but when we're entertaining you as well. But that number, I can hear them start to ring here. We're going to have to get closer to those phones, Steve. 571-2345. And if you call, you can hear them ring too, and you can talk to our operators. And that's one of the nice things this time of the morning. We can give a pretty quick response to their pledge here on the air as well.
And we might mention, too, that if you want to make your pledge to count for your firefighters, for your fire department, you can make a pledge to the substations. They're going to be coming up on the screen, and we'll read them for the folks who are on the radio, too.
You guys haven't aged a bit.
Steve, have you shaved since then?
Once. Van, I think they put some bass in your microphone.
Yeah, probably did.
It starts down here.
I believe. You know, I was sitting here, and when that came on, I looked over at these guys, and I said, I can't believe they put me on HAS radio.
I can't believe they put me on air tonight. Oh, my goodness. Now, I'm talking like you back in that clip. Like, these are the veterans. These are, you know, the HAS legends. I'm just so happy to be here.
We'll see you in
as
40 years.
All right, I'll come back. I'll come back.
When we started doing this all night, the first year that Gary Burbank was at the station, I said, hey, you ought to come on the all night with me. I told him that, Steve. And he said, okay, yeah, I'd like to do that. I said, we got bands. We run from one studio to the other, and they cue up a tape. We play Peg Leg Bates, Jonah Jones, Cab Calloway, or Bobby Hackett, or Steve Lawrence, Edie Gourmet, or Doc Severn. Oh, yeah, that sounds like fun. He came in one Saturday, one Crusade. No, I ain't working that all night anymore. Terry Miners comes to WHAS. His first year here, said, you need to come on the all night with me. Oh, yeah, that sounds like fun. He worked one Crusade all night. Steve's been here a long time.
Yeah. 39.
So, Van, you retired in 99, and when you retired, they asked Joe Arnold to come on and host the all night with me. So
for 1 year.
I
was there for a few.
Joe came back for several years.
I did.
And when Joe came back, he brought back the live entertainment. Joe now works for Kentucky Living Magazine and the Kentucky
Electric Cooperatives.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And but Joe worked for HAS Radio for a long time. Did overnight talk show as we were transitioning.
I was used to
from,
also. I worked from midnight to 5 a.m. 5 hours of talk every night. Van did sports talk for a couple of hours.
Yeah, from 7 to 9.
7 to 9. So
That
imagine
show-
that times 2.5.
That show was on the air on WHAS Radio for 33 years. And then some brilliant man took it off the air. You know what I think of him.
This is nothing like this is fantastic, isn't it, Jack?
Yeah, you got it.
What stories you want to tell?
That's it. I can't top that.
Okay. No, we had a great time. I appreciate you, Steve, and the great transition and Van being able to allow me to come on there for a few years. And David Gerard and other live entertainment then began then overnight. And that was a great way to kind of to merge both those great Peg Leg Bates videos and some of those old Jim Walton, as well as some of the live stuff.
Well, what Joe and I figured out was the more you're live, the more the phones ring. Because people are seeing stuff. Not that people don't like looking back at past crusades, but when you're on the air and you're asking folks to call, it does make a difference. Joe started another tradition that we saw continuing last night, and that is the walkthrough from Studio G, which is the new studio, over to historic Studio H. Now, I do have to tell you all something funny at home, because
We love a story.
I've been out of radio for a long time, come back to do the crusade. Well, the folks who are on TV now don't have any idea who I am. And we wear earpieces so we can hear. So usually during the break, we'll hear Steve Kirkland. Who's that?
Now, I worked here for 15 years, and they still say, who's
Joe
that?
Arnold, who's that?
Exactly. So it doesn't take long.
Well, you've been out of this business about only 5 years, and a young lady walked up to me one time and said, "You used to be somebody, weren't you?"
Oh no.
Jack has told me a story about going back to the radio station.
I used to tell people when you would leave, I said my granddaughter could walk in and say, "I'm Jack Fox's granddaughter." They'd say, "Jack who?" Shortly after that, I walked into the studio and I said, "I'm Jack Fox here to see Terry Miners." They said, "Jack who?" There you go.
Everyone knows Jack Fox and Van Vance.
Well, now if you say that you get a lot more money when you got live entertainment, if you had some dance music, maybe
Would you dance?
No.
I should have learned that kick
No, you have
line
to
back
pay
then.
for me not to dance.
Walking, but you could dance.
That's right.
Well, the way Joe brought music back was he started singing overnight. So if people don't know, he's very good. He is very good.
Well, I would have brought my guitar, Joe. But
that would have been great.
There's always next year.
But Joe cantors at several churches, I guess.
Holy Trinity now.
Okay. And so Joe would bring a pianist in. There used to be a piano in the studio. And the pianist would play, and Joe would sing, and I would stand in the corner awkwardly while Joe sang songs.
You weren't the only one who would stand awkwardly when I sang. That's a whole other story. But I appreciate you remembering that, Steve.
So Joe's going to sing for us tonight in just a few minutes. But while you guys are here, I want to bring in David Gerard. David's been a part of the crusade for many, many years. Do you remember what your first crusade was?
No.
I remember, David and I have been friends for a long time. We go to church together. Jack goes to St. Matthew's where we go to church. And David called me up one time and he said, "Hey, I'd come in and do some magic for," it was probably with Joe. "I'd come in and do some magic with you and Joe. You wouldn't care if I come in?" Well, yeah, come on in. Yeah. How long you want to stay?
That's right.
As long as you hear the phones over.
I do have a Jack Fox story if we have time for a Jack Fox story.
Wait a minute. I haven't seen any bunny rabbits
jumping
around.
There's one right here. See, there's one right here. But anyway, Jack and I have been good friends for a long time, and as you know, he's the last voice you hear as you leave airside, and he's the first voice you hear when you land back in, telling you what to do and what not to do. And so I used to fly all the time with the show. And so I cleared security, and I'd gone in that men's room. There's a men's room right just inside. And I'm in there, and I'm just standing there at the urinal. And all of a sudden, I hear this voice, and I go, I didn't know there was a recording in here, and then I hear Jack go, and he's standing right next to me. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing. I'm getting my own private announcement.
What was he saying?
I don't remember. It was something like the white zone is for something.
For number one only.
That's right. You know, I guess
This is not a crusade story, but a couple of years ago, a group of our people from our church were going on a mission trip. You may have been on that, Steve. And as we were standing, there 4 or 5 of us, H.C. Baker and a couple of other people, the fellow from Brazil said, Brother Fox, would you lead us in a prayer? And I said, certainly. I put my arms around him. Before I opened my mouth, from the speaker comes, you're approaching the security zone. Brother Fox, what kind of prayer is that? Never knew.
Well, a little magic?
Yeah.
I've had an amazing night with Lance Burton and friends, and wow, I hope people got to see that, enjoyed it. But some close-up magic tonight. I enjoy card magic. And I use cards that are made by the United States Playing Card Company. It's just up the road in Cincinnati, Ohio. And these cards are made here in the USA, but they're used throughout the world by magicians, gamblers, I mean, everybody, people that play cards. And I just think they do a superb job. That I like the way the cards feel. And so United States Playing Cards and a little magic for you guys. And since there's a bunch of you, I'm going to have several cards selected, not just one. We're actually going to have 4 cards selected. So, Van, I'll give you the speaking part. If you would, as I riffle down the corner, just say stop anytime you like.
Stop.
Perfect. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, I realize there are 5 of you, so somebody won't get to play. We're not going to look at these cards, but here's what I want to do. I guess I'll start here with Jack. Maybe Jack could just do the honors.
Sure,
if you would just number the cards, starting here, a big 1,
okay.
a big 2, a big 3, and a big 4, and just write that on there. Very nice. Now we still don't know what they are, but there they are. All right. So here's what we're going to do. Without looking at it, we're going to place card number 1 right about here. Card number 2. Right about there. Card number 3, right about there. And card number 4, right up here, kind of toward the top. And you can see that they're fairly spread throughout the deck. All right. Now, do we have magic words? Sometimes we have magic words. Crusade for children. All right, so we say the magic words, Crusade for children, and watch. I snap my fingers, and I spread the cards, and look.
There's your cards.
Well, maybe there are 4 cards, but we don't know for sure that they are the 4 cards.
Right.
But it's still pretty cool. We got 4 that. But let's just check, and when we check, we find out that yes, indeed, there's number 1. There's number 2. There's number 3, and there's number 4. So far, so good. We still don't know what they are, though. Let's see what you guys chose. We'll just flip them over here. Oh, no, I'm glad we're not playing. I'm glad y'all aren't playing. Well, that ace is not bad, but these are not too good. But how about, what if we did this? What if we assign a numerical value of 1 to the ace? All right, so if we do that, then check this out. And I'm going to turn this so the camera can see. We have formed a date. What date have we formed there, folks?
1776.
1776.
Look at that. Very patriotic.
Very patriotic. The birth year of our nation. Would you expect anything less from the United States Playing Card Company?
Very nice.
Let's hear it for the red, white, and blue.
Oh, and they changed colors. Fantastic.
Oh my goodness.
That's great,
Magic
David.
right before my eyes.
So there you go.
I like that better than the bunny rabbits.
But it's not nearly as hard to clean up either, I'm just going to tell you. So
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So my good friend Ken Abbott is going to be here later, and he does some amazing things, and we'll have some fun tonight. So but it's an honor to get to be here with you guys. I mean, I've lived in Louisville since 1975. And I was kind of telling Elle, these are legends. These are legends. And Jack's been kind enough to, Steve and Jack are sort of the voices of my show. Between the two of them, they've done a lot of intros and things for me. And Joe's been a friend for a long time. Vance, I just remember your opening thing on Terry Miners. It was always, somebody's got to have a real voice on this show. It's like,
by the way, 1975 is the year the Kentucky Colonels beat the Indiana Pacers and won the ABA.
There you go. Right. Good old red, white, and blue basketball.
That's when you moved here.
That was pretty exciting. I got to go to some of those games.
Great.
Oh, man.
That's a good trick there. Teach that to me.
Thank you very much. I'll be back.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Van, you should talk a little bit. You were the voice of the Colonels and of the University of Louisville, basketball and football.
Yeah, some of my highlights in sports, and I did 40 derbies. 40 Kentucky derbies.
All right, you'll be
so
next.
I don't go
with
to many of them anymore, but I was there a lot. But yeah, some of the highlights of my career, and of course I did a lot of TV sports. I did the Colonels on TV. In fact, I used to do a simulcast, several games a year on both radio and TV at the same time, and was the voice of the Colonels, and then U of L from about 81 on, won the championship in 86. And did the Dream Game, by the way, in Knoxville.
Took a long time to get that Dream Game to happen, didn't it?
Yeah, sure did. That was really something.
When Denny passed away just a few months ago, we got to hear some great clips of Denny and Joe B kind of going at each other about the Dream Game, and they didn't care whether they played it or not, and deep down, I think they wanted to. But those guys were good friends later.
They sure were, and you know, I have a lot of friends who are both basketball, real big basketball fans, and also fishermen. But they used to complain to me walking in the park, Denny and Joe talk too much about fishing and not enough about basketball.
But Denny was, if I could, Steve,
Go ahead.
Van, as a sports talk show host, Denny was unusually, even for that era, unusually accessible. I mean, it seems to me that he just was very transparent with his answers to you.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. When he won the championship in '86, most coaches, you have to go to the dressing room to get them, talk to them. All the time I walked with Denny, he would come after the game, wherever I was. Here we won the championship, and he comes through the gym up to talk to me on the air and take his congratulations for beating Duke, the only game they lost the entire season. You know, those are great memories.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they are. It's about 12:33. You're watching the Crusade for Children on WHAS television, listening on News Radio 840 WHAS in Louisville. You can give us a call at 582-7511 or 1-888-382-7511 to make your donation to the 70th WHAS Crusade for Children.
70 years.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yep.
You can also use Apple Pay and Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, all the things to donate to such a great cause, because 100% of the funds goes right to the kids.
We want to take a moment and show you how your Crusade dollars work, and after that, we're going to come back, and Joe Arnold is going to sing a song for us. Surprise, surprise.
Okay.
We've got more magic on the way as well, and I think Jack and Van may stick around a little bit too, so we'll hear more from them. But take a quick look at how your Crusade dollars go to work.
Morning, Samir.
Doctors don't know exactly how it happened, but as far as we know, yes, he was born with it.
All right, we're headed into the hallway.
So we kind of noticed in the hospital that he had like a little redness around his eye. They said it was probably just stress from childbirth. And then of course, when we were at home, we were tracking his milestones and noticed that there was a little clouding in where his pupil would be at. He has a visual impairment, PHPV, that's persistent hyperplastic primary vitreous, which means he's legally blind.
Good morning, Zamir. How are you today?
My name is Erica Rogers. My son Zamir, he's a student here at VIPS. Without VIPS, I mean, we probably have been lost.
All right, Visually Impaired Preschool Services serves children birth to 5 all across Kentucky and Indiana.
They've got lines down there.
To help the children and their families develop independence, develop the advocacy skills they need to be able to speak up for themselves.
6, good.
My name is Stacey Maynard, and one of my jobs here at VIP.
They look left and All right.
is to teach one of our preschool classes.
You want to turn the page for me?
So this is a very rewarding job and a very fun job.
I love the staff here.
Hi, Zymir. Zymir is a sweetheart.
Do you need a hug?
He's done a wonderful job.
Z-Y-H-M-I-R.
Right now, I'm just trying to get him kind of acclimated to the Braille writer. Sometimes he'll spend some time pushing the keys himself, which we call scribbling. It's be the equivalent of a child who's learning to write, kind of scribbling on their paper.
You'll play music? You ready? We'll say, music, please.
One of his favorite things to do during our free time is anything musical.
I knew you'd like to have this back.
We are working on having him explore the Braille that we are reading with him. Good morning to Brooks, how do you do? The donations provided by the Crusade for Children are essential to us being able to provide the types of services that we do.
Good morning, Zymir.
A lot of times they go toward the teacher salaries, and it's also used, to get various equipment that we need.
Can you tell your friends good morning?
Good morning, friends. Wonderful job.
Well, if it wasn't for the Crusade for Children, then VIPS wouldn't be able to provide resources for children like Zymir.
I am personally grateful for the Crusade, not only for VIPS, but just for all the things that I see them do for children.
If anybody is wondering if they should donate or if their donations count,
I want you to see if you can trace all the way around the worm.
I would say yes. I would say donate. I would say your donations change lives, and we are forever grateful for VIPS and the Crusade for Children.
I'm gonna let my light shine all around.
Your Crusade dollars go to work, and you can be a part of this year's 70th Crusade for Children by calling 582-7511 or 1-888-382-7511. They couldn't let Steve Crump get out of here.
Steve just moseyed his way on in here.
Steve Crump, I tell you what, I believe that you're on the air in Louisville more than you are in Charlotte. Steve works for a television station in Charlotte.
We work for the same group, actually, in our real lives.
Yeah. Steve interned here at HAS back in '79, I believe, right, with Van?
And true story, you guys were talking about Denny Crump earlier. Remember at Van, we would come in on Sundays, and U of L would have a game, and Denny would literally, it drove the engineers and the tech people crazy, but Denny would literally edit his own video highlights. The three of us would sit in a room together on a Sunday, and it's like, all right, we put the shot in. Yeah, Griff did this, and Rick Wilson did so and so. I mean, and it was one of those things of where, how did Denny Crump learn how to edit videotape and do it well? Maybe he was preparing for another career after coaching.
I taught him, and then Denny and I taught you.
There's more than a kernel of truth into that. Gosh, it's so funny because the two of us have known each other well over 40 years, and it's the first time that we've ever been on the air together.
That's right. I hadn't thought of that. You're right.
Yeah.
And I gave this guy a nickname. One night, I was leaving at 1 o'clock in the morning, this building, and the all-night radio guy, newsman,
Jerry Lightsell
was there. And I look, and Steve Crump, who's an intern, is pacing back and forth in the newsroom. I said, Steve, it's 1 o'clock. What are you still doing here? He said, well, there might be a fire or a wreck or something, and I can go out here and cover it and get it on the air. So I said, man, you're gung-ho. So from then, this thing has become known as gung-ho.
But the thing about it is, in terms of the legends in this building, we saw Metz, we saw Jim Walton, and of course, I will kind of go into the whole shameless promotion of being a Trinity High School grad, but my Trinity in this building was being as cool as Vance, to have the dogged determination of Chuck Olmstead, who did many years on the Crusade for Children, and the wit and the humor of one Gary Burbank. So that was my Trinity in this building.
Yeah.
Steve, do you have a Crusade memory?
I do, actually. I remember being a kid growing up in Smoketown, and we would ride our bikes or sometime walk over to Memorial Auditorium. And one of the interesting things, and it was interesting, I was driving down Hurstbourne Lane today, and I saw the guys from the Jeffersontown Fire Department collecting money at Hurstbourne and Taylorsville Road, which kind of brought back the memories, because I don't know if they do this or not, but it used to be, and Van, you probably remember this. Remember they would bring money in fish aquariums?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're
Fish
real
aquariums.
well.
Yeah,
Quite often in fish aquariums, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The other thing I will say,
Get a
and
lot of change in a
oh
fish
yeah, by
aquarium.
all means. It's
Yeah.
like, while people wanted soft money, but it was one of those things that where, the change made a difference. But the other thing I do remember also, and that is growing up Roman Catholic here in Louisville and having done 12 years of parochial school, it would be one of the highlights on Sunday would be when either Archbishop Flourish or Archbishop Thomas McDonough would come on, and they would read the list of every parish in the Archdiocese, all the way from Springfield down to Mount Washington and Bardstown and Lebanon and all that. And they would say, St. Augustine's at 13th and Broadway, they pledged $2,500. St. Agnes on Newburgh Road, they're $4,000. And they would have this list, and it would be like, drum roll, please, and there would be this huge total that came from the Louisville Catholic churches, and it was really interesting, because when you guys were running the clip from '63 and you saw Randy and Cactus, it was probably one of the few pieces of videotape that you saw Tiny Thomale, but
played the piano.
Yeah, exactly. But you had guys like Tiny Thomale and Shorty Chesser, and so the legacy in 70 years. I mean, that's quite a record.
Well, Steve, I'm glad that you stopped by.
Well, thanks for having me
You and Van have been friends for quite some time, and
Disco Van or Van in sports shorts, or when he would do the thing on the radio with Burbank and Miners in the afternoon, he's like, "This is Van Vance in Louisville at 5:15."
We had the School of Dance and High Romance.
Yes.
That was part of Burbank's, and when they would have the big snows. They would
Snow
be
Shark.
Yeah, the Snow Sharks, and then they started making the announcements of everything that's closed. And Burbank would always throw in there, and the Van Vance School of Dance will still be open tonight.
And on TV, they would use the music from Chuck Mangione's Bella Via.
Yep, sure did.
Yeah.
You still hear that every once in a while.
We're going to talk about Wayne here later too
Yeah,
tonight.
Absolutely, yeah.
Wayne Perky, because he did so much on the Crusade and so identified with WHAS Radio and TV.
Yes, yeah.
But this guy, he learned the business pretty well, didn't he?
He did. He did.
Aren't you on the station Charles Carrault worked on in Charlotte?
Charles Carrault started with us at WBTV and WBT in Charlotte. And the acronym, I remember, as a matter of fact, I don't know, Steve, if you remember this or not, but I remember Jim Walton and Phyllis Knight going back years ago, and kind of, I guess, the acronym for WHAS was, quote, "We have all shared."
We have all shared.
We have all shared. That was the theme of the Crusade for many years.
Yeah,
The other one that I have heard is, "We're here after supper."
Yeah, that one I hadn't heard. That's a new one.
Somebody told me that we're here after supper, because they didn't sign off at sundown. So, well, thank you guys, Van. We'll talk to you in a second. I think you're cutting out, Steve, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
But thanks for having me back here. It's always great to be back home. And I remember Studio H, and then across the hall was the other studio where you had, back in the days of Jim and Kirsty and Chuck Taylor and Dave Conrad, man. So that was a long time ago, So yeah.
Mort Krim.
Yeah, Ken Rowland.
Jim.
Yeah. Well, you go back to Jay Krause and Fred Wishy too.
Yeah,
on Focus 11.
Sure do.
Yeah.
Fred Wishy came to WHAS as a newsman, but he wound up in the garden.
Yeah,
the weekend gardener.
He got smart.
Yeah, he made a lot more money as a weed man.
My first job at HAS Radio was running the board for Fred's Saturday morning show.
Yeah.
They hired me to work 1 hour a week, and I thought that I had made it big time. So.
Now, the amazing thing, though, this morning was waking up and watching Reed. And Yaden was on with one of the fire departments this morning. So the only thing I could just hear in my head was the voice of Bill Bailey, But it was one of those things that were across the street. And here's how this neighborhood has changed. and you could like walk into this one restaurant across Chestnut Street. It was called Cupie's, and Van's picture was on the wall along with the other HAS personalities. And so right at the other end of Chestnut, like at 5th and Chestnut, there was this little greasy spoon, and it was called the White Swan. But Bill Bailey would always call it the Dirty Duck.
Never ate there.
Yeah, your picture wasn't on the wall.
That's right.
All right, it's the 70th WHAS Crusade for Children, 582-7511, 1-888-382-7511. Joe Arnold is going to hop back in here. He's going to sing for you. We'll bring you some of that entertainment that we promised you. Van, Jack, and Joe will be back. Thank you to Steve Crump for
Thanks for
sharing
having me.
a little
Always
bit.
good to be home.
Thank you. You can donate securely at WHAScrusade.org, and then you can follow it up. Make sure you mail your check to us if you're doing it the old-fashioned way, right, Elle?
That's all right. That's all right if you want to do it. Or the new-fashioned way, you can donate using Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, and Apple Pay.
Or a fish aquarium.
Yeah, you can do that too. You can scan the QR code on your screen as well. And of course, keep up to date with all things Crusade for Children, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. I mean, thank you so much for your donations, and you're changing a child's life.
If we can, why don't we take a quick look at how your Crusade dollars work, and then we'll bring Joe Arnold back in. While they're getting that tape ready, you can to get that tape ready. I'm showing my age there.
Pull it up on the rundown.
While they're pulling up that file in the computer system.
He's thinking about the story of Denny editing tape is what he's thinking about.
You can call 582-7511, 1-888-382-7511 for the 70th WHAS Crusade for Children. And here's a look at how your money works.
My name is James Whitlow. I've had the opportunity to write hundreds and hundreds of wills, and I've had many people who left a lot of their estate to charities, which is a very easy thing to do. What people need to understand is that when they write a will, it is very simple to include a special bequest to a charity. I've been fortunate and take great pride in the fact that I've had several families to leave a large endowment to the Crusade, primarily for two reasons. One is that they have a endowment program that pays all expenses, so for dollar that you contribute, it goes to the charity. And the second reason is that it is returned to the community in which it donates it. So I don't know how any charity can compete with that. And for that reason, I always include the WHAS Crusade for Children as one of the charities.
The grand total is $5,133,684.69.
Hi, I want to invite you to follow us on all social media platforms. We're on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. Just search for WHAS Crusade for Children on any of these platforms and follow us for great content. There's always something new on our pages, including inspirational and uplifting videos and photos of children who have been helped by your donations to the WHAS Crusade for Children, as well as information on family-friendly events hosted by fire departments and other groups. Like and share our post. And please tag us and use our hashtag WHAS Crusade. Lastly, I want to remind Kentucky residents that you can take us on the road. Get your WHAS Crusade for Children license plate at your county clerk's office. Go to WHAScrusade.org to learn more about how you can change a child's life. 100% for the kids.
And that is how your money works. All those donations coming in, you can donate right now by calling 582-7511. And we got Joe Arnold back here. You kind of brought the entertainment back when you were doing
Steve's
the
giving me a lot of credit for that. Basically,
you did, Joe.
What it was, well, a couple things. As I said before, I was on that overnight show, and I'm full of myself. So what it boiled down to is it's a matter of, hey, if I have a microphone, and an audience, and we can maybe get those phone calls going. Let's go ahead and give it a try. So we did.
You mind doing a song for us tonight?
That'd be great.
What are you going to do?
Well, there's an old song that Charlie Chaplin wrote called Smile. And I was thinking about, so I moved to Louisville in the early 90s, and I feel like I've been here so long now that I have memories of Vance on the air in the 50s. I mean, it's you kind of adopt these things over time, and I feel like I grew up here even at an earlier age. And so I embraced the crusade. I believe in the crusade. And when my second son was born, when he was about a year old, he ended up down at Children's Hospital downtown. We thought he had pneumonia. We weren't quite sure. We were blessed to have a healthy family, but at the same time, there are times where in the midst of a crisis, you need and to make sure that those resources are there. I'll never forget seeing one piece of equipment in that room had WHAS Crusade for Children on it. And it made me realize, okay, all these things that we're working on actually make a difference. I'm thinking tonight, and this morning I should say.
Well,
go ahead.
I don't think there's anybody in this area that can say they have not been touched in some way by the Crusade for Children.
Absolutely. So we obviously talk about the children. That's what it's all about.
Right.
But I'm also thinking about, we were very fortunate, again, that was a temporary situation. But I'm thinking about the parents. I'm thinking about, now that I'm a father of, almost 2 adult young men, and seeing them grow up. But then I think about the parents. I don't know about you, whenever I drive by the hospitals, whenever I see the equipment, when I see the clips that you just shared there, certainly we care and our hearts go out to the kids, but I'm going to sing a little something for the parents.
All right. Yeah.
Because of what they're going through, whether your child has special needs immediately or long term, but we're thinking about you too.
Awesome. My friend, Joe Arnold.
All right, take it away.
Let's see. Little smile. Smile, though your heart is aching. Smile, even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you'll get by. If you smile through your tears and sorrow, smile and maybe tomorrow you'll see the sun come shining through. If you just light up your face with gladness, hide any trace of sadness, although a tear may be ever so near. That's the time you must keep on trying. Smile, what's the use of crying? You'll see that life is still worthwhile if you just smile. Thank you for your gifts to WHAS Crusade for Children. 582-7511. Toll free is 888-382-7511. WHAScrusade.org. Via Venmo, as Elle said, and Steve. You guys, you can sing along with me at the end here. Okay, ready?
Oh boy.
Is that why you got us up here?
That's the time. That's the time. You must keep on trying. You must keep on trying. Smile. What's the use of crying? What's the use of crying? You'll see life is so worthwhile. You'll see that life is still worthwhile if you just smile. We're smiling. Happy Crusade, everybody, and thank you for indulging me. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Joe.
Now, next year, Van, Do we have an agreement you'll plumb in with the guitar next year? Can we do this together?
Can we get like a quartet going next year?
Van
I think so.
still practices 2 hours every morning. Am I correct?
That's right, from
We've
6
lost
to
all
8 every
control.
morning.
We
You know,
truly
They're
have.
hosting, but I'm talking to Van.
Do you know who wrote that song he just sang? Charlie
Charlie
Chaplin.
Chaplin.
Yep.
You got
All
it.
right.
Next year, what do you think? Can we do
Oh,
it?
we got a handshake.
Oh, we got a
Good
handshake. It's
pre-recorded.
signed, sealed, delivered.
Pre-recorded. I'll come to your house. All right, back to you.
Hey,
More magic. Yeah.
Yeah, stay here. Ken Abbott, come on in. Ken is a friend of David Gerard's. Van, you're welcome to stay if you want to.
We're just having a big old party over
Yeah,
here.
this
Like anything goes.
Ken's got some magic. You guys want him to scoot on in just a little bit more? Would that be helpful, or
Yeah,
does
let's
it matter?
scoot in a little
Okay,
bit.
come on in here,
Between
Ken.
me here. There we go.
Yeah.
Great.
Perfect. I'll come on this side. Is that all right?
Okay.
Am I sneaking a peek at anything? Or
No, not at all. In fact, I have.
you've got your own microphone.
I have a favor to ask of you. I know you're expecting magic, but I have a PhD in first century Roman architecture, and I was wondering if I could just give a little mini lecture for 2 or 3 minutes on
sure.
Roman architecture from the first. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. I tell you what, the Romans in the first century, they discovered that the classic arch shape is stronger than a straight beam. And this is a sample of the standard arch shape that they used back then. They call this the short arch shape. And they had another standard arch shape and size, the long arch shape. The yellow one is called the long one because it's longer than the short one by about that much. But if you were to put these side by side, you can see that the long ones really are much longer than the short ones by about that much. Now the short ones here, they use these for.
Wait. Those are the long ones, right?
No, these are the.
Wait. You're right. I'm confused now too. Go ahead.
No, these are the short ones. The red ones are the long ones, because see, you can see the red one's longer by about that much.
You're playing with our brains.
Yeah. Now.
I'm kind of questioning that PhD now.
So anyway, they have these the long red ones. And wait a minute, excuse me.
Those
They're
are the
labeled
short.
short. They're
Oh, I'm sorry. These are the short ones. That's probably they put that on the arches back then, so the craftsman would know. I guess you would think I would know. So yeah, the short ones are the red ones, and the yellow ones are the long ones. It says so right there,
yeah.
and they're you can tell because the long one's that much longer.
Right.
Now they didn't always use a long with a long and a short with a short. They got creative when they needed to, and they might have a short and a long put together and have a short long. Now, since these were standard sizes, a short long always matched another short long. And they could even take a short long and make it a long short. And of course, if you have a long short, the standard sizes would match. So the long shorts would match the long short. Now, for instance, if we have a long short and a short long, you'll see that the long short is longer than the short long. Okay. Now we could.
I'm trying to keep up.
I am having a hard time of it.
Yeah.
We could switch and have a short long and take the short long and make it a long short, and now the short long that is now a long short is longer than the short long that used to be a long short. I think it has something to do with the word long being first.
That's the long and short of it.
Yeah. Well, anyway, believe it or not, there were some other areas in Europe that they didn't just use two lengths. There were some that actually used 4 lengths. They would use a long arch. They would use a medium long arch. They would use a short arch.
How are you changing the lengths in mid-sentence?
And they would use a very short arch.
But
Now, believe it or not, the Eastern Germans weren't quite as creative on this.
that's oddly so
The
specific.
Eastern Germans only used arches of one size, the exact same size for every arch.
Devil magic.
And that is the long and the
I
short
stole your
arch.
line. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much.
That is fantastic.
I think I learn something new every day.
There's a short stop.
I think I'll.
You had to get a baseball reference.
I
in.
had to try. I just felt bad for stealing his other line.
Well, thank you for watching.
Thank you. Thank you, Ken.
I need to take more classes. Dang.
Yeah.
We'll see more from Ken a little bit later on, and David Gerard will be back with us as well. Joe Federle is here somewhere.
He is.
And
he's probably in the archives right now, dusting off more film.
Yes.
Because you used film back then, not files.
Well, we do have to thank Joe, because Joe found a lot of those great clips that we did see. What time is it? Oh, we're right at 1 o'clock in the East. You're watching The Crusade on WHAS TV and listening on News Radio 840, WHAS in Louisville. Do a little station business there to keep us good and legal. You can call us and be a part of the 70th Crusade at 582-7511 or 1-888-382-7511.
And you can donate online at WHAScrusade.org and donate, use Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, all the different things. You can scan the QR code on your screen.
We're going to hear from Jack and Van again here in just a moment. Let's take another look at how your Crusade dollars work, and we'll reset. I think, Joe, you may have another song for us as well.
That's a threat or a promise. I don't know. We'll see.
Anything goes tonight,
Yeah,
all right,
exactly.
for the 70th annual Crusade for Children.
Before we take a look at how your dollars work, let's take a look at how many dollars we have. We have not checked the Crusade for Children tote board.
We haven't.
And this is good news, folks. We have not been over $1 million on the overnight before we go off the air at 6 a.m. So at 1 a.m. In the morning to be at $1.6 million and change. That is a good
chills
thing.
right there.
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
got chills. Wow.
That's all thanks to Van Vance and Jack Fox.
That's exactly right. It's Kentucky's most successful, or Kentucky, it's the nation's most successful local telethon, and it's all because of your generosity. 582-7511, 1-888-382-7511. I'm Steve Kirkland. Elle Bottom, her first Crusade.
Very first.
How you liking it so far?
It is too much fun.
It's
I'm on
fun.
my third coffee, and I don't think I need another. I mean, the energy in here has just been absolutely incredible. Talking to everyone here, looking back at previous Crusades, it's been too much fun for the 70th Crusade.
Well, we have more stuff, more past Crusades, some great entertainment all night long. We'll hear from Jack, Van, and Joe here in just a couple minutes, but take another look at how your Crusade dollars work.
I'm grateful for this opportunity for them to be able to come out and have this every year.
So the Center for Courageous Kids is a year-round camping facility where our mission is to inspire, empower, and enhance the lives of children and their families living with special needs or medical conditions. What we're able to give them is really just to experience that rite of passage that all children should experience, which is camp.
All right, what do you say to go? Welcome. Perfect. Good job.
So it's a completely no cost to the family, and that's one of the things that I think our families and kids are always grateful for and surprised with when they come to camp.
It's a blessing to not worry about where can I come up with the money so that they can go to camp next year. The opportunity's there because of donations, and that's what we're really grateful of.
So this weekend, we have families here who have children with hemophilia, sickle cell, other bleeding disorders, and then also kids that may go to an oncology clinic for different childhood cancers or blood disorders of that nature. We also have families here this weekend with our new relationship with the Institute of Health Equity. Those children may have never experienced this much nature, coming out and going fishing for the first time, or taking a nature walk through our woods down to our treehouse adventure lodge for the first time. So really just providing those first time experiences is one of the things that we hold dear here at the Center for Courageous Kids.
I'm here today with I have 5 children and 2 grandkids at Center for Courageous Kids. We're out here just to have a good time, spread our wings, and just have some fun. Each one of my children have a medical condition. Everyone has sickle cell anemia, and then 2 of them have asthma, and one of them also has diabetes.
Yeah, I think you're gonna bite me.
With this camp here, having the medical facility on site, it kind of gives me an ease of mind just in case something happens. It takes a lot of the worry away.
So most recently, what we've been able to insert with support from Crusade for Children are some of our brand new medical golf carts, where that gives us the ability to have more medical staff out on site in the activity areas with the kids. The grants that we receive from WHAS Crusade for Children make what we do possible. It's imperative, it's necessary, and it's something that since 2008, we've been so grateful and overwhelmed to have the support.
Have you enjoyed riding Blue?
Because their mission mirrors what we want to do, putting the kid first and put the kid experience first.
So I love how the Crusade for Children gives the opportunity to give these children a chance to get out and have a good time. They get to meet other children like them with the same health conditions, and I love that.
It's something that makes me feel like my life is purposeful, and it gives me really a reason to just wake up every morning and be happy that I'm coming to work, because I get to work for such a powerful and necessary mission.
It's the 70th Crusade for Children right here on WHAS TV and on News Radio 840 WHAS. You can be a part of it by calling 582-7511, 1-888-382-7511. I'm Steve Kirkland. I'm a WHAS radio alumni, and I'm with Elle Bottom. You see Elle on Great Day Live.
Yes, I am every which way across Kentucky, and it's my very first Crusade. So happy to be here tonight, along with the other HAS alumni as well.
Yeah, these are good friends of mine. I'm privileged to have worked with these guys, and glad to still call you guys friends. It's nice when you call somebody up and say, hey, you want to come be on TV at midnight? And they all say, absolutely.
Yeah, sign me up.
It's a chance to get back in the building, though, because Jack and I actually snuck in the basement against the security warnings to grab this stool from the film morgue. So Joe Federley and friends, we'll put it back.
I was going to say, I'm the only one on set that actually works here to actually get you guys in.
That's right. We've been borrowing her ID card.
Yeah, we have it locked down here like Fort Knox, so we have to have the little keypad to get in.
We're at your mercy, so got to be nice to you all night, I guess.
I think so.
I have to tell a story about Steve starting here. I knew Steve when he was in the 5th grade. He came to my church, and I visited his basement. He had a radio studio set up there. I think he got raided by the FCC because he went 3 blocks or something. But during school, Steve would come while I was on the air and on days off and hang around the studio. Mm-hmm. And he did that when he was in high school, I think maybe in middle school. Anyway, I had him one day, he was running the control board for me. And the program director came by, looked, and he called me, who's the kid? I said, be nice, he's going to run this place someday. And he did. So.
And you became operations?
I was the assistant director of operations when I left.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Good long.
Goes back away.
So I started at HAS. Well, I started hanging around a long time.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And to get me out of the building, they decided they had to give me a job so that I wouldn't hang around all the time. So I guess I started my sophomore year of high school. Mm-hmm. I still have the memo somewhere that I had the distinction of being the youngest member on the radio staff at that time.
I still have one of those trading cards. You have the Weekend Warriors.
Oh
and a
yeah,
couple other guys.
My parents had to go to a judge because I was working after 10 p.m.
Yeah.
I'd work till midnight some nights, and they had to get a special permission so that I would be able to do that. So
I had to get a judge to come in here tonight. It's 1:11, so I'm running out of time.
Well, some of the first things that I did on the air a lot at HAS. But when I started, I was a board op. I had the pleasure of working with Van on Sports Talk, and then Milton would come in and do all night. Now Van was laid back, but the thing about Van, and I don't know if you remember this or not, but we could talk in her ear. Like Elle and I both have an earpiece in, and they can talk to us in the control room and tell us to shut up or whatever.
Or keep going, keep talking, which isn't a problem tonight for sure.
But the funny thing was with Van, anything you said to him while he was on the air, he would repeat.
Oh no.
So if you said, you've got Jim on line 1, Van would be like, all right, we got Jim on line 1. I don't know if you realized you were doing that or not, but we had to be careful what we said to you sometimes.
They have a lot of stories, and for people, some of the younger people, HAS Radio and TV were in the same building until in the 80s.
In the 2000s.
Yeah. So I might give a station breakdown in radio in the old Courier Journal building or in this building, and then run over and do a TV commercial or do a TV show. You'd do both maybe in your daily shift.
Wow.
And there were a lot of stories about WHAS TV. Originally, WHAS TV was on the 7th floor of the studios, although they would use some of the radio studios for some of the shows when they had Randy Atcher and a band and things like that.
This is in what the Courier Journal building today, right?
The Courier Journal building on the 7th floor. So they would have late night movies, and they'd have beer commercials on the movies. And they'd have to have the beer certain temperature and have the beer ready. And they hired the wrong guy. They hired a guy, he was a stagehand, and they came in the next morning, and he had drank all the beer that they'd advertised on the show, and he had a hangover. They had to relieve him of his duties. That's when they did the live beer commercials at night on the movie when they would cut out.
Now, didn't you have to pour the beer yourself on some commercials?
I did on the NFL football games on Sunday afternoons. Mainly the Cleveland Browns were carried. Cincinnati Bengals didn't even exist then. I would run down in the studio and do a live Sterling beer commercial, a brewery in Evansville, and you had to pour it just right live, on camera. And they didn't want it to come up short. They wanted it to either run over or be right at the top. And
did you practice?
Yeah, but the temperature of the beer is the important thing.
Did you get to drink your mistakes? Did you get to do that?
No, I had to go back and make more commercials. I couldn't drink the product while I was on the air. You heard the famous line of the guy. He was live doing in the early days of television, and he took the beer and he tasted it and he said, "Man, that's great coffee."
I like to tell a building story.
Yeah.
In 1965, I was in Evansville, Indiana, and had to come here to take a FCC test for running operations and everything. And I remember coming down Chestnut Street, and there was a big hole in the ground with a fence around it that said "Future Home of WHAS Radio and Television." And I did not know 60 years later I'd be in the basement of that place getting a stool for Van Vance. So there we are.
Tell them.
Yeah. We were talking off the air a couple of things. Van, you were telling a story about being at Derby and one of the directors giving you some hand signals.
Yeah, we had a newsman here, another guy I started in the business, by the way, in Lexington. I helped him get a job on WVLK radio in Lexington. His name was David Dick. And of course, our news director, Bill Small, eventually wound up running a national network news service. Was it NBC or CBS?
CBS.
CBS. He was head of CBS News, head of Cronkite and all those guys, Bill Small. And he took David Dick, came to Louisville after he had gotten into the business. I came here about a year before he did. Kaywood came here a year before I did. And David Dick went to Churchill Downs on Derby Day. Well, the first thing David Dick did wrong, he forgot his pass to get in Churchill Downs.
Okay, well, that's a big mistake. You can't do that. No. That's like the one thing you have to remember.
He had to go back home and get his pass. So he got in Churchill Downs Derby Day. But anyhow, David Dick, they put in the infield. Now, this is a newsman. You usually put Terry Minor in the infield. So David Dick, I saw him at the end of that day, and he was kind of a wrecked man. But he said, "Did you hear what happened to me over there?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "There are a lot of crazy people in the infield at Churchill Downs on Derby Day. They used to drink a lot more than they do now and all that." But anyhow, he said...
it didn't cost $100 to get in either.
And that particular day, I was working on TV on the roof, Derby Day, and Tom Chapman was a stagehand, and David Dick was doing an interview. And Tom Chapman gave him a signal. He did this, and he pointed up, and he went, and he kept doing that. And David Dick is looking and blinking and stalling, and finally he said, "That's all from here, bye," like that. So he walks over, he said, "Would you mind to tell me what in the world what does that mean?" He said, "It's very simple. Cut, throw it to the roof to Vance for 4 minutes."
Well, when I was working with you and Milton, I'm not sure that you had a lot of hand signals, but Milton had hand signals.
Yeah,
and
he did.
And it was one of my first nights, and Milton started doing this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what in the world does this man want?
Like that.
And
yeah.
we took a break. He said, "Steve, it's coffee with cream."
He was milking the cow.
Oh my goodness.
And then he would take his wedding band, if it was a slow night and nobody was calling, and he'd twist his wedding band or he'd point to it, and that was called Miriam.
That's his wife, yeah.
That was his wife. Yeah. And Miriam would say, "What's he talking about?" And you'd tell her, and she'd say, "Okay, give me a couple seconds," and she'd call back. And she would light the phones up. She had a way of
This is so
stirring
I
the
didn't
pot.
know that because I hosted this late night show from after midnight.
Yeah.
And it is very. This is the first time I've known that Milton would plant calls, because it was tough.
Yeah, right.
From time to time. Yeah.
About 2:30 in the morning, it would get really rough.
Yeah.
And then you'd hope that somebody would call from somewhere between Yuma and Beloit.
Well, I'm sure, Joe, you'll remember this, but when the music ended overnight and you took over.
Because Joe Donovan was a
Joe Donovan,
legend up to that point.
You were not going to have a board op producer.
That's right.
All of a sudden, these caller ID things started showing up, and they were lining them up on the audio console, and finally somebody wised up and said, he's got to have somebody. Joe was going to answer the phone cold on the air.
Now, there were people who did that across the country. I just figured if I stalled long enough and played dumb that I don't know how to do it, that sooner or later that Steve would hire someone. And,
yeah, well, we did.
Thankfully, did. And it worked.
Yeah.
Well, Milton worked many crusades and did a great job. And he usually did that announcing that you had on earlier, of where he did the announce over the music on the sign-on. And he was a major part of the crusade. Phyllis did so much work on the crusade, not... now later on they had people that did that all through the year, but she did a lot more than just the crusade. She was one of the people going out during the year and visiting, and where you have these demonstrations and they take film and all of that. So those people were very dedicated and really believed in the crusade. And Tammy Wynette didn't get she didn't get the feeling, but Phyllis and some of the people you're talking about did.
That was one of the things that you talked about earlier, maybe off the air, that most of the performers that came in for the crusade really embraced the atmosphere, the feel, the camaraderie of the crusade, and really became part of the crusade. They didn't just come out and sing their song. They went and they talked to parents and children and interacted and really bought in to what we're doing here.
Yeah, they believed in it and threw their shoulder behind all the effort.
Well, they were like, when I said I was the first, you had no idea really what it was all about, but you experience it once and you're hooked.
Well, I would have to think...
Starting on a journey.
It is starting on a journey, and you just feel that, like, as soon as I came in for my first station visit, like, one of the stops on your tour is the Crusade office. And you have no idea, but you walk in, and everyone's just so excited about the kids. And, I did, like, a whole Blue Wave show with GE Appliances, and just how excited they are every year. And they're like, oh, June's going to be here before you know it. First week of June, you're wanting to get involved. And now here I am doing the overnight shift. But people get it, and even just going all across Kentucky and doing different stories, they might not know, WHAS News per se or Great Day Live, but they know WHAS Crusade. Everyone's been touched by the Crusade for Children. It's amazing. It really is.
Become part of the whole two-state area, all across Kentucky and Indiana. I call an important thing is identification. That if you have a business, some identification. The Crusade, WHAS, a Crusade for Children, Kentucky, and there's an identity there that's been established over these 70 years and it's pretty big. It's pretty close.
I love the idea, though, that Van, and thank you and Jack so much for helping us remember. So often, Elle, you know, some of us kind of drift in and out. Steve, you haven't gone away, but
like a bad penny.
Exactly. No, but there are people like the Bingham family, you know, who invested and made it a certain level of professionalism here. And then that first show. I mean, look at some of the clips you were showing earlier about that. But the fact that we should remember Jim Walton, we should remember Phyllis Knight, we should remember. I mean, I remember when I got here, Jack. I remember there were still alums who had been here from the very first shows on behind the scenes. Ted Throckmorton and Bob Pilkington and I know those others that we're forgetting now at this point. Certainly Milton and those kind of folks. But so thank you for helping us remember some of those names and those people that otherwise, you know, there are foundation upon which we're building.
Well, it was amazing, and when he was still here before he moved back or moved to Lexington, Kaywood, you would come in on Crusade night it's still at this time of the day or the morning, and he worked down a basement or worked, I think, helped serve food and stuff. He worked a Crusade.
By the way,
he didn't do any announcing or any play-by-play.
For our younger listeners and viewers, Kaywood is Kaywood Ledford, legendary Hall of Fame sports broadcaster, voice of the UK Wildcats.
Yeah, and he would be in this building. He was sports director of radio and TV at one time, and he would be downstairs helping serve food and things like that. And a lot of the people who ran this place would be just have a towel or have their sleeves rolled up.
I remember a picture of Kaywood. I mean, I saw him
wearing an apron.
with the apron and serving sandwiches.
And he'd be doing the Wildcats, you know, maybe the next day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Van, we talked a little bit about this off the air, but you and I, before you retired, shared an office.
Yeah.
And
I can only imagine the stories.
Oh man, it was really cool. But Van used to come in and he'd be, hey Steve, what's going on? What's going on? He said, let's all go quit in a group. Should have taken you up on that, Van.
That was a famous Gary Burbank thing. I'd go in to do the sports, and he'd say, "Let's you and I quit in a group," you know, something like that. And he had Vance coming in the studio, pulling up his, and a group would sing "Sports Shorts" like that.
Yep.
Those were old days. Go way back.
Van, talk a little bit about how radio and TV and the Crusade changed over the years. So your first Crusade was 1958. Now you're seeing the 70th Crusade. Can you talk about the differences, the changes that you've seen over the years?
Well, they've changed, but they changed gradually. They didn't change in a hurry. What I saw, we always, it was going very well, very successful. But you mentioned the Pleasure Ridge Park. They were the first fire department that came in and had all of these big donations of where they had collected all this money. Then we began the next year to see more fire department. So that happened gradually. It didn't happen, well, it happened pretty fast, but it's come on. So the management and the people who ran the Crusade, and we all realized how important the firemen and the groups, the Red Men over north and all of that, and all of these organizations, the Catholic Church, the other churches and organizations, and they emphasized the people who were in management, who ran HAS and who ran the Crusade, and I guess the Binghams who owned this empire at that time, of how important it was to show the appreciation. So when we were not on the air, we weren't doing this or doing that, we were told, go out and welcome these people and wave them in and tell them that we appreciate what they're doing. And they tried to, because all of a sudden all of these trucks and all of these vehicles are showing up, and where are you going to park all of them? So over time, they've, done a pretty good job of organizing that. But that's how it's changed. They manage it a lot better than when it first happened. You'd look out through there, and it was kind of a mess of trying to get them all through here.
Jack, you were saying there were some nights. I mean, the fire departments would take how long?
Well, they go till 5:30 in the morning was the longest
Yeah,
one. I thought.
yeah. I can remember coming in and running the board for the morning show, and the Crusade was still going on. So technology really has solved
Very
that. There's
much
some
so,
great television partners like WBKO, WBNA, who team up with WHAS TV and radio and do some remotes. So the Bowling Green folks can watch BKO and see their fire department, and BNA, some of the Shelby County and places like that. Those remotes are on that station, so that we're not here until 6 a.m. on Monday morning.
Exactly right.
In fact, the Crusade total is now announced at 6:55 on Sunday night.
Yeah.
So the Crusade ends much sooner than
And more money.
and more money. Yeah. Van, just to dovetail off a little bit of what you said, it also is remarkable that the Crusade has been able to continue. The Bingham sold WHAS TV and radio to separate companies in the 80s, and that each of those companies that bought the entities continued to appreciate and want to have the Crusade on the air. There's and ownership of both those has changed through the years, and Tegna and iHeart are committed to the Crusade. It's absolutely amazing.
Well, also radio and television are not in the same building
Yeah.
anymore either.
Yeah.
That continues. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was talking about the fire departments and the chiefs and the people who would come on those trucks, and it amazed me because they were trying to find a parking place and get lined up right, and it always amazed me how great they were like, we're here. They had so much enthusiasm.
Mm-hmm.
They've been working, they've been collecting money all year and all weekend, and those stop signs and red lights and all of that. But they were proud they were there. They were proud. They're anxious to get in and get back eventually. But they all had such a positive attitude. I saw no negativity whatsoever on either side, you know.
They all love it and look forward to it.
Yeah, that amazed me, the attitude of the firemen and the groups that would come in, their patience and
Some wait 2 or 3 hours out here. They're
Yeah.
parked
Yeah.
2 or 3 hours.
Yeah. There's also a little bit of between the fire departments, good-hearted challenges and rivalries.
Competition.
Yeah, a little competition.
And they like to talk to one another. They get together and they talk it over.
Yeah, they do.
They
But,
game plan for a whole year on how little strategy they're gonna do, right?
It has been great watching on social media. I went to lunch at a local fast food place this afternoon, walked in and the entire Anchorage Fire Department was there just taking a short break between roadblocks and that sort of thing. But it is something about there. I just want to thanks again, obviously for what you do throughout the year and for safety and for our health and well-being. But the fact, to your point, Elle, is that they truly embrace this.
They do.
And so thank you guys and ladies for continuing, because more than half of the donations of the Crusade are actually brought in through fire departments.
Exactly, yeah. So Christina, our weather girl that was just in here, she took a photo, because this is her first Crusade as well, and she took a photo right outside of her house. There was a fire department there. Firefighter, I think the wife was involved, and then their young child was there with an upside down fire helmet, like asking for money for the Crusade. So everyone gets involved. It's not just the firefighters, it's their families, it's people committed to the Crusade that just make it that much more special. And it's been going on for 70 years now.
You were talking about those aquariums and the fish bowls
I
earlier.
cannot imagine that, honestly.
Well, they'll be in this very studio tomorrow, because the firefighters will bring their money in. Some of them in the firefighter boots as they bring them in their nickels and dimes, and they'll dump them in those fish bowls. And it's a great sound to hear. Because you know that money is going to help a special needs
Is that
child.
what your dad counted for years?
Yeah. So my dad, who got me started volunteering when I was 10, worked in the accounting department for many years. In fact, his last year was the year before COVID, took the overnight off. I came in and volunteered starting in '84, I guess, was my first crusade, running back and forth to the studio. And the year that B.J. Thomas performed, that was at the Kentucky Center for the Arts. They had some severe weather and had to come back to the station early.
Raindrops keep falling
Yeah,
on my head.
yeah, exactly. They had to come back to the station early, so they were in severe weather coverage. I think Ken Schultz and Chuck Taylor were here taking care of that. But when they came out, because they were early, they didn't have a crew in the studio. And they had to send news crews out to cover the storm damage. So one of the floor directors looked at me and looked at the camera and said, "Can you run that?" I said, "If you show me how to, I can." And I ran camera for an overnight crusade. I'm sure that you had to be the host, Van, and I you know, just some 10-year-old kid running camera.
So you've been together longer than you realize.
Actually, it goes farther than that, because I remember his dad talking about counting money and taking a break to change Steve's diaper.
No, that was when I was 10. So it definitely, it's in your blood. And it's just one of those things. There's no question when I get the call or email of whether I'm coming back or not. So as long as they'll have me, I'll come back.
Well, with your donations, you can vote yes or no for Steve Kirkland. 582-7511.
Get rid of the King of the Crusade for the 70th year.
Toll-free,
Come on now.
888-382-7511. And as Elle said before, WHAS Crusade.org. And you can Venmo now?
You can Venmo. Technology has certainly changed over the years, as Van has said. You can use Venmo, Apple Pay, Cash App. You can, scan the QR code at the bottom of your screen.
These guys don't know what that stuff is.
Well, anyway, got to keep up with the times, am I right?
I see a QR code.
Oh, there it is, right there. Yep.
I actually don't. I know PayPal. I don't know Cash App, or I do use Apple Pay.
There you go.
It's very handy at
You're
Chick-fil-A.
with the times. You're trendy.
Let's bring David Gerard in. I want David to do a little magic for you guys.
All right, David.
And you stay here, Van.
We're gonna
stay here.
And he has a mic on, right?
And,
so I'll come on
and
this
I
side.
am I'm happy for you guys to stay as long as you like. You keep that one over there.
Okay.
Are you gonna stay?
I'm gonna duck.
You're gonna duck out? Okay, all right.
You guys, you guys are good.
All right.
Oh, you hop in there. With
All right.
David.
We're
I think, I might be wrong, but I think a couple of years ago too, didn't we learn that if you say ALEXIS, give.
Oh, that's
you remember
right.
That?
Yeah.
Or say it loud enough,
Yeah,
it would go to
yeah,
people's
yeah.
homes and automatically make a give to the.
So I'm sure your Google Home or Alexa probably you can still donate.
There you go.
Yeah.
And speaking of donate.
This is very cool. Tell us a little
Yes,
bit
tell
about
us
this.
about this.
So this is part of how we introduced Lance tonight. Terry and Shay and I made this appear. His name appear on what was previously a blank license plate. And after the show, Lance was kind enough to sign it and date it. And so we're still trying to figure out how to give this away, but maybe tonight we can find someone who will give us some money for this. If you would like to have
There you
this
go. Yes.
on your shelf, maybe give us a call, or
Yes.
I'm not sure how that works, but
We're still kind of game planning on what we want to do creatively.
Can sit that
but
right
yes,
there
we're going
and-
to set it right here.
so as Steve knows, I spend a lot of time on the road with my show and eat at a lot of different places. And what I like to do tonight, in honor of this being your first night, I would like to treat you to a 4-course meal at one of my favorite eating establishments. I know Steve knows about this place. I don't know if you've ever eaten there or not, but it's a terrific place. It's called Cracker Bucket.
Oh.
Yeah, not
okay.
Cracker Barrel.
Oh,
Cracker
it's
Bucket.
different.
I've had
And
the
it's-
opportunity to eat there once. I
And it's
believe,
pretty good stuff.
Okay.
And I'm going to treat you tonight. So
Okay.
before we go any further, I guess this is we'll put the money. I guess we could just lay the money over there on the table.
All
I've got it. I've got my wallet taped shut. It's not that I don't trust you. It's just that I don't really. You're a new friend, okay?
Right.
And Steve, you're going to kind of be our scribe.
Okay.
Here is a dry erase board, and I've got a dry erase marker. And if you make a mistake, I've got a thing there. So anyway.
Okay.
So it's a fun place to eat.
Yeah.
And one of my friends is the proprietor, and so the first choice, you're going to get to make a lot of choices here.
Yes,
We're going
we
to
love
start with
options.
appetizers.
Okay.
And I'm just going to kind of read off. You can see what we've got here. And some of this is going to sound strange, but you got to remember I'm from the Deep South.
Right.
So we have grilled chicken gizzards with mustard dip. I'm personally not a big fan of gizzards, but if you like them.
But the mustard dip, that might be.
And how much are they?
They're $3.50.
$3.50, okay. So then we have chicken noodle soup, kind of a standard for guys like me. And it is how much?
$5.
$5. Then we have crackers and cheese plate. You can never go wrong with crackers.
It's like a little charcuterie board, right?
Exactly. And how much?
$5.
$5. And then next we have, now this is one, now we're talking. Bite-sized mac and cheese. Ooh.
This sounds the most appetizing.
This sounds good, and
Yes.
it is?
$7.50.
$7.50. Then we have Meemaws, not just regular corn fritters. These are Meemaws corn fritters with honey mustard dip.
Ooh.
Sounds pretty good. And they are how much?
$6.
$6. And then we have bacon-wrapped Vienna sausage. Now, I hope you probably don't even know what Vienna sausage is. I got through college on Vienna sausage, but they didn't have any bacon wrapped around it, I'm going to tell you that.
Goodness.
So 6 choices of appetizers, lots of different prices.
Right.
Your choice. Elle, what would you like for your appetizer?
I think I'm going to go with the mac and cheese balls for $7.50.
Mac and cheese balls for $7.50. So just write down, Steve's going to kind of keep the tally going.
Okay.
So mac and Meemaws, no, let's see.
No. Bite-sized mac and cheese
Bite-sized
balls.
mac and cheese balls, and they are $7.50. Okay,
Yep.
now comes sort of what we call the main course.
Yes.
We have here blue plate specials. Easy for me to say. Blue plate specials.
Yep.
And we have pulled pork barbecue, one of my personal favorites. We have the Po' Boys Gulf shrimp.
Okay.
Oh, and how much is the barbecue?
So barbecue's $8.
And the shrimp is
$8.
$8. And then we have fresh ground hamburger steak with onions and gravy.
$9.
And then we have sausage and peppers surprise, as they say. And it is
$7.50.
So again, 4 choices and 3 different prices. And what's it going to be?
Let's go with the pulled pork barbecue sandwich.
An excellent choice.
Yes.
If I do say so myself. So pulled pork sandwich
$8.
with baked beans.
Yes.
And tater chips. $8.
that's
not
a
just
bargain.
not potato chips. They are
Tater
chips.
chips. Yes.
Now comes my wife's favorite part of the whole meal.
Uh-huh.
Where it starts, we get to the good stuff, the desserts.
Yes.
And so pies and cakes.
Yep.
I hope you like pie. I hope you like cake.
Love
we
it.
have Cousin Cliff's custard pie. We have cherry pie, a la mode.
Oh,
You get a little chocolate
so
on top,
good,
it makes it
yes.
even better. We have raspberry and vanilla swirl cake. And we have chocolate moon pie wrapped with whipped cream.
Oh, so
Your
good.
choice, lady's choice.
Can I pick 2?
No, sorry. So
Can I order them all? I'm going to do the raspberry vanilla swirl cake for $5.
Raspberry and vanilla swirl cake, and it is $5. And now we finish it off with a refreshing beverage. Your
Yes.
choice of an RC Cola. I think that's probably in there for the moon pie. Mountain Dew. You got to be up all night. Might be a good idea.
Yep.
And then fresh squeezed lemonade. Very healthy. And what's it going to be?
I'm going to do the fresh squeezed lemonade for $1.50.
Fresh squeezed lemonade for $1.50. All right. So if you don't mind totaling this up, and while he's doing that, let me just ask you, how was the meal?
I mean, I would think it's delicious.
I forgot to tell you, it's fat free.
There you go.
It's free and it's fat, but you look like you're going to be okay. So I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yes. He's still doing his math over
still-
there. I didn't know you
what-
were
what-
hired to
what-
do
Did that
math
right?
tonight.
Yeah, what did it come up to?
$22.
$20. Okay, now here's the next question, and I know this is kind of embarrassing, although this is the way it's starting to go at a lot of restaurants. The server stands right there and says, what's the tip going to be?
Of course.
I'm going to give you a choice.
Okay.
How was the service?
I mean,
How
I
was
would
your
give it.
server?
I would give it a 5-star.
I was responsive.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so I'm going to give you your choice of 15% tip or a 20% tip.
Okay. I would give it a 20.
You're going to go 20?
Yeah.
Okay, so 20, and we'll round up. So I don't know.
No, I don't have my phone.
I got my phone right here, so
There
we
we
can
go.
do this.
Calculator, we love
Because
technology.
I can't do that math in my head.
So let's see.
22.
22 and times, what did you say, 20%?
Yep.
20% equals 440, round up $5.
Yep.
Server comes out good on that.
Yeah.
All right. Was this fair? I mean, you're a new friend, so I don't
Yeah.
really, I know, and I didn't tell you choose this, choose this, choose this. You got what you wanted. And
Yeah.
before we did any of this, I told you that I was going to treat,
Yeah.
and I gave my, so do you mind just, if you don't mind, grab the wallet.
Yep.
And again, it's taped closed. And so we're just gonna open up the wallet here with
Yep. Little knife.
just come here with a little knife and just kind of
Maybe.
So we'll get it in here.
Here, I'll step out of the way. Make sure. There we go.
So inside here, there's a business card in case you need a magician. There's also, if you would just grab there's a note there and there's some money. Just grab it all.
Okay. Can I open it?
Yeah, open up the note.
All right. It's kind of hard
And
to
then
do
I'm
this.
going to ask you to read the note out loud. And
June 4th, 2023. I hope you enjoyed your magical meal. Here's $27 to cover the cost, including the tip. Signed, David.
Check it out. Make sure you got 27 there.
All right, so we got a 10, we got a 20,
20,
we got a 5,
26, 27. Any choice different, any tip amount different, the total would be different. You are awesome.
Oh my
Everybody
goodness.
Give her a hand.
Oh
If you
my
like this,
goodness.
Send us some money.
Yes, we do take tips, right? No,
Yes,
I'm
we do
kidding.
take tips.
Well, we do take your donations as well. We dial right now, 582-7511. You can donate online as well, WHAScrusade.org. And of course, use Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Apple Pay. Scan the QR code right now. Get those donations in. And is this your donation, $27?
It could be. It might as well be. Sure. I like that. Why not?
Yeah, let's do it. Wow.
David, I forgot
Lead
to
by
ask you.
example.
Yes, I forgot to ask
Oh.
you. Is this a magic marker?
I was going to say, I don't use ordinary markers. I only use
Magic markers.
Magic markers.
Yes.
So if I come back, and
Are you gonna
we can
disappear?
talk these guys into coming back, I've got a Steve Kirkland story.
Oh, my.
Oh.
So my friend Ken Abbott is definitely coming back, though.
Yes.
Was that not crazy, the thing of the long and the short? I mean, my head still hurts from watching that.
Yeah.
And here's what he didn't tell you and you don't know. Ken is part of an exclusive organization known as the 4F Club. It's Fechter's Finger Flicking Frolic.
You got to be
And
careful how you
You
say
have
that.
to be very careful. And it's it's invite only, and it's close-up magicians that come together once a year. And he just got back from Fechter's. He's a Fechter's invite. And it's it's a limited invite only. You got to be good. And as you know, he's very good.
Very
You've
cool.
seen some of his sleight of
Yeah.
hand. And so he doesn't brag on himself, but I'm going to brag on him.
Well, good. We can't wait to see him again. We'll see him in just a couple minutes. Let's check the tote board. We are at 142 on Crusade
We
Saturday.
had so much fun. Well, today I am back.
I'm not sure that. I think we may still be on. I think we're still on. I'm not sure what that is, but I think we're still on. It is. It's Crusade Sunday morning now at WHAS TV in Louisville, Kentucky. The Crusade total is 1.6 million. I think are we still on? Okay.
We are
we still on, guys? Okay.
Anything
good,
can
good,
happen
okay.
on
You know, it's
Crusade
live.
night,
It's
you
live
know.
television.
That's the beauty of it.
So at $1,642,765.04 for 4 cents for the 70th WHAS Crusade for Children. You could be a part of it by calling 582-7511 or 1-888-382-7511. We're going to try to talk to Jack, Van, and Joe one more time. I think Joe has another song. We'll get Ken Abbott back on, and we're going to take a quick moment and look at how your Crusade dollars work while they're getting that ready. Remember, if you make a pledge, that you can go ahead and write that check and mail it out to us at 520 West Chestnut Street, Louisville, Kentucky 40207. And there are lots of other cool ways how you can donate as well.
If you want this, make us an offer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Give us a call at 502-582-7511 or 1-888-382-7511. It's a Lance Burton license plate that Lance signed.
Yes.
Lance was the headliner at the variety show that happened just a few hours ago. You saw it here on WHAS television and heard it on News Radio 840 WHAS. Magic doesn't work real great on the radio, but you know.
I like it because nobody sees how anything's done.
All right, we're going to take a quick pause here, let you see how your Crusade dollars work, and we'll be back in just a second. Watch this.
We had so much fun. Well, today I am back. You got out of bed. And see what happens. Hold it still here and, oh!
So this is the Dreams with Wings camp. We have 2 camps. One that serves individuals with Down syndrome and another that serves people on the autism spectrum.
Now, how many people here have actually seen the Ohio River? Anybody? I work at Louisville Water, and my job at Louisville Water is the best.
We had the Louisville Water Company and Tyler McRae, a very talented instructor, teach us about filtration and the importance that that plays in keeping us healthy and in the water that we drink.
That is the name of the filter that we use. Is it coming out faster than the sponges or a little slower? There we go. And then now I'm gonna pour. Ready? Here we go.
Good job, everybody. Good
Let's
job.
see what happens.
This is our 21st year, so we're really excited to be able to keep bringing it back and delivering a summer to remember every single time. Dreams with Wings is so many things. We are a local nonprofit that serves children, teens, and young adults from ages 7 to 87.
Oh, our 3 closest scientists have all said yes for the sponge.
It's really everything we can possibly do to spark creativity, physical activity, and social emotional learning.
Heather, are we ready for me to turn back around? Okay.
Are you guys ready? Yeah!
All right, here we go. Let me see. Oh, yes.
We're extremely grateful because we wouldn't be able to do it without the crusade. Without the generous gifts of all the donors and without the crusade, we wouldn't be able to make this camp everything that it needs to be and that these campers deserve to have every single summer.
WHA Crusade 70 on WHAS television and News Radio 840 WHAS 147 on a Crusade Sunday morning as we head towards the early morning hours as Studio H will fill up with folks coming in with their donations, and then later on in the afternoon when it's full of firefighters and their families and bringing in and honoring folks that have donated. We're so glad that you're with us. I hope you're enjoying hearing some stories from Vance, Joe Arnold, and Jack Fox, some legends from WHAS radio and television. And we've got David Gerard, who's coming back up here in a few minutes. Ken Abbott will be back with us. We'll twist Joe's arm. I think he'll sing for us as well. But you guys, Van, you wanted to talk a little bit about Wayne Perky. Wayne, oh my gosh, legendary morning man at WHAS radio, did television as well. And really, after Jim Walton retired, Wayne became Mr. Crusade.
Believe it or not, Jim Walton did Funfair AM. He did the early drive radio on HAS for many years. And then when Walton left that show, they brought Wayne in. Then when Jim Walton retired from the Crusade anchor job, Wayne was the man who took over as the master of ceremonies. And of course, I think it was the year before the COVID, I was a guest in this studio with Jack Fox and Wayne Perky on your All Night. We sat over there in the studio, and Wayne was a great MC of the Crusade, and Wayne was a great person, a great human being. He loved people, which we're talking about. The Crusade is the idea that you love people or you love children and you love living beings enough that you donate to try to make their lives better, their health and their lives. And he was he had a lot of interest. He liked people. He kept our TV, helped keep our TV and radio group together. We would have luncheons, get together, sometimes 3 or 4 of us, Ed Shadman, Milton Metz, myself, and others, and Jack would be there, Jack Fox. Wayne was kind of the glue that tied us together. That's how much he liked people. So he was a perfect choice to be the MC of the Crusade for Children. Unfortunately, we lost Wayne in the past year or so, which was quite tragic the way that happened. The virus was involved in that. So haven't forgotten him. I haven't forgotten over. I just cannot believe that he is gone. and how that happened. But he certainly loved this city and this community, and did a lot, didn't he, Jack?
Oh, very much so. Yeah, he was very dedicated to the crusade. He knew every fireman's name. He would go someplace at the drop of a hat. He needed to be there for the crusade. He was there. I personally was pleased to see at one point the crusade would end at 6 o'clock, because go to 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. On Monday morning, I would get a call, Wayne's not going to be there, and I'd have to be on the air at 5 o'clock in the morning. So that happened a lot. But he was dedicated to the crusade, to the whole community, really. He left a big hole.
Yeah.
Big hole.
Yeah. I'll tell you a funny thing about Wayne Perky. I had been retired about, I'd say, 4 or 5 years, and I went in a market one morning. I got my newspaper, I got my bottle of milk and all of that, and the lady at the cash register, I gave her my $10 bill or whatever, and she rang it up and had a little bit of change, and as she dropped the change into my hand, she looked me straight in the eyes and said, "Thank you, Mr. Perky."
Man, you worked afternoons. You didn't work mornings. Were you ever on the morning show with Wayne?
For about a year or
Okay.
so at one time. That was between when I was, the Kentucky Colonels did not go into the NBA. And I was the play-by-play voice of the Kentucky Colonels. So there were a couple of years I did some U of L on television and some broadcasting of that type on HAS until I started doing U of L when WHAS landed the contract. And I worked the morning shows with him for a while in that interim, or about a year or so. Then I went back to the afternoon and play-by-play later on.
Yeah, I got to work with Wayne a little bit during my career. Wayne ran his own board for a long time, and they decided that Wayne needed a board op producer, so they pulled me in to do it, and Wayne and I had a good relationship. Wayne liked to be in control, though.
Yeah,
so we learned how to work well together, and I knew that I had made it with Wayne when Wayne had retired from HAS Radio, and WRKA Radio hired him to do afternoon drive. And he called me up and he said, "Steve," he said, "I need you." He said, "I need you to come over here and run the board." I had left HAS Radio and was working for a member service organization at the time, and he said, "Is there any way that you would come and run my board for me over at RKA?" And I knew at that point that Wayne appreciated me.
Yeah.
And that he was happy I had worked with him at HAS, and it was hard to tell Wayne no. But I told him that ship had sailed and I had gotten out of the business. Yeah, Wayne was a great guy and sorely missed, because Wayne was one of those people. After he retired, he continued. He came back every year.
Sure did.
I think he did like 8 a.m. on Sunday morning, and he would stay.
He always had a lot of enthusiasm, always very positive about everything, and like he'd just gotten up and he felt great. But you realize the crusade during the years when he emceed is when had some fantastic numbers down through that span of time, you know.
Joe Federle just came in the studio. Is that piece is loaded? Yeah. So I think there is a tribute piece. Oh, it's not loaded yet. Okay. Well,
maybe after these guys.
Yeah,
because we'll make sure that Van and Joe
Jack
can get back.
Yeah, my mother has me. She has me.
It's 2 o'clock. Your curfew now.
Yeah,
Dan?
yeah.
Well,
Might have to give her a call. Might be a little bit later than that.
So what Joe was telling me is there's a great tribute piece to Wayne, and we will run that.
Okay,
so when you guys get home, you can
be
watch
great.
that, or you can catch it on YouTube or Facebook tomorrow.
About how long before it's coming on?
They're loading it into the system. So
Okay.
Who knows?
But before Van and Jack go, if I could, just because first of all, I came in after the legends. Okay, so I appreciate you including me in this club.
A legend in the making.
Yeah, there you go. No, but if you could just from both of you, because I have an appreciation for institutions. The Crusade is an institution. WHAS Radio and TV are institutions. Do you have any thoughts at all about the role in the community that this radio station, this TV station, and then through the Crusade, what they have?
Well, I was amazed when I came here because it came somewhat from the ownership, the Binghams, that the last thing they seemed to want to do was make a lot of money. Of course, they were making a lot of money because they had a lot of the outlet, the newspaper.
They owned all of Louisville media.
Yeah, they owned all of it. But I used to think that they really wanted a strong news outlet, newspaper, radio, and TV. And it seemed to me like we were here to first serve the community, number two, inform the community, and number three, entertain the community, and then number four, make money. It seemed like that was the way they ran this organization for a long time. It was pretty amazing because most places, you know, you've got to make money to if you're the owner, and you got to make money for your employees and all of that. And they took care of their employees pretty well. A lot of the people got scholarships or got when they went to school, they paid a lot of their tuition. But I felt that HAS was existing first to help the community, inform the community, entertain, and then hopefully we'll make some money.
And Jack, these institutions still remain relevant today.
Very much so. Speaking of the Binghams, they were very benevolent with their employees. I think when we would look for the stool, I saw somebody who was still living in the basement.
Oh my goodness. We got a critter down there? Is that what you're saying?
But as far as the Crusade's concerned, I thought when I travel in Europe, I say Kentucky, and they say Kentucky Fried Chicken, Muhammad Ali. Anywhere in Kentucky, and I mention HAS, they say Crusade for Children.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Very well said.
Well, listen, that piece of Wayne is loaded. So
Okay.
if you all
I'm
will
gonna
just
stay around.
if you all will just stick around,
Yeah.
Let
let me do some station business.
me say one thing.
Yeah.
Yep. This guy's working hard over here. We go to the same church. I'll be in the pew at 10:30 in the morning. He'll be up running the sound at 10:30. He will.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
will, yeah.
Okay.
So let me do some station business. You're watching the Crusade on WHAS television. You're listening on News Radio 840 WHAS in Louisville. We're glad you're here. You can be a part of the Crusade. It's easy, 582-7511 or 1-888-382-7511. Did you want to say something before we watch this piece about
Not a lot. If you can tell me where my vehicle is.
do you need me to drive you home? All right, let's take a look at a tribute to a great man. That's Mr. Crusade, Wayne Perky.
And now, your master of ceremonies for the next 24 hours, Wayne Perky.
Well, this is why we're here. Thank you, John. Thank you. This is why we're here. To help young fellas just like J.R. Grilly. All right, J.R. Let me introduce you to a lovely little blonde with beautiful brown eyes. This is Lisa Carruthers. And 5-year-old David Weiser. David is a special guest of ours this evening. Hi, thank you. Let me introduce you to Troy Fitch. Troy's 11 years old, and he's a student at the Cerebral Palsy School. For the 33rd year in a row, you have an opportunity to make a miracle happen tonight to help young folks like Mylyn Curry. Hello, Mylyn. Hello. Is there? Hello.
Hi.
Why don't you sing it?
Well, yes, you know,
Hello.
they told me just to go right ahead and sing this second song, but I'm so glad I get to say hi to you.
Hello, welcome.
Isn't he adorable, Wayne Perky?
Welcome to the 35th WHAS Crusade for Children. You're absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you.
Look at those big dimples. Kristen, how old are you, 6?
Yes.
You just finished first grade? Kristen Smith is from Hart County. And let me say welcome to the 37th WHAS Crusade for Children. Let me introduce you to 4-year-old Katie Bryson. Hi, Katie.
Wayne is perky and ready to go.
Thank you. Thank you, and welcome to the 38th WHAS Crusade for Children.
The boss for tonight, the guy who's going to do most of the work. You all know him from around here because he's Perky. In fact, he's Wayne Perky, your MC for the evening. Wayne.
Thank you, Alan.
Troy is one of our special children who has been with the Crusade for Children now for 19 years of his life. And Wayne, you carried Troy onto this stage as a child, I understand.
Yeah. Troy and I met a long time ago.
Good evening. Welcome to the Baumhart Theater. And if you're not here, you're sure welcome.
Wayne Perky and Melissa Swan.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. Good evening.
Wayne Perky and Melissa Swan.
You are way cool tonight, Wayne.
Oh, gosh, thanks. Hello, good
Hi, wonderful.
Thank you. Wonderful, Randy. Hello. Hello. Hello, welcome.
Good evening, everyone. Good
We're
evening.
glad you're here. We're at the Baumhart Theater in the Kentucky Center for the Arts. We have seats available for you if you'd like to come on down. They're free. It's a free show and a great show.
It is wonderful.
And you'll love coming down.
And this would be the start of something. This would be the art of something. This would be the start of something grand.
More ways than one.
Look at that hair, right?
Great hair.
That was great hair.
Great hair.
I'm jealous. I'm so jealous.
What a legend! What a legacy
Right.
that Wayne left.
Just
the many
reminded
years.
again of his smoothness. That
Yeah,
was great.
yeah. It was neat to see some of the Crusade regulars too in that clip. So.
And I was telling Elle, I appreciated how he always kept it clean on the air in the mornings with his morning show.
He did. He
always
did,
kept it
yep.
clean.
He didn't always get the right words out,
No.
but
Oh.
but he did keep it clean. I have to tell this story. Ken Schultz and I, when I was working with Wayne, Wayne operated in the talk studio, which was called the Met Studio in honor of Milton Metz, and he was doing an ad-lib commercial for Ron Gist of Gist Pianos, and he was reading the copy, and he started talking about Ron Gist tinkling on the ivory, and Ken Schultz and I lost it. And Wayne had no idea what he had said, what it meant. But he said, if anybody remembers Gist Piano, and there was a silhouette of Ron Gist tinkling on the ivories on the building. It was Ron Gist playing the piano, not tinkling on the ivories. But Wayne, what a great guy! What a great guy, Joe. Thanks for that piece, and we'll talk to Joe Federley here in just a minute. He's got some other clips of past Crusades that he has some information about that we want you guys to see as well. David Gerard, I got these guys to stay just a little bit
And can
longer.
Joe, can you join us? Come on back in here. Come over here with Elle, maybe. So as Steve's already kind of told how I got involved with late night, he just said, could you come help me? And I said, sure. And I don't think many people realize how hard this is, what he does, and what Terry and Shay did tonight, and what really all of y'all are doing. But Steve has run lights for me and sound for me on more occasions than I can remember. Shows at my church, shows at the Iroquois Amphitheater, shows at I mean, just everywhere. And I've always said if I ever, hit it big and could go on the road and could take anybody with me to see about my tech, this is the guy.
And I've told him that he can't afford me.
That's right. It's true. But anyway, I did ask him one time, I said, you understand a lot about all this stuff. I said, could you maybe put together some lights for my show? And he said, I'll be glad to. And this is what he came up with. And I thought, well, this is really cool. I said, and I said, now you got to keep it simple because I don't have the training and the experience that you have. And he said, no, you're going to be able to handle this. I said, so what do I do? He said, well, the first thing you do is you just plug it in.
Is this the code?
Yeah, you just you plug it in, and then there's a little switch here, you turn it on. There we go. And he said, now, at this point, all you have to do is pick a color and pick a switch. So, Van, pick a color, blue, yellow, red, or green. It's
going to be red.
Pick a red. No, I'll do the switch.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you can do it. Go ahead.
No.
So red turns on red. See how that works? All right, Elle, pick a color.
Blue.
Blue. So blue turns on blue. Yellow turns on yellow. Green turns on green. That's how it works. I said, I think I got it. I pick a color. That switch turns on that light bulb.
Right.
He said, that's it. You got it. I said, Steve, I'm liking this so far, but I do have a question. I travel. And how does something, this looks kind of fragile, how do I travel? He said, well, all you do is when you get ready to go somewhere, you just unscrew the light bulbs, and you wrap them up. He said t-shirt, soft towel, anything. And then when you get where you're going, you just put them back in, and you're going to be good to go. And I said, well, Steve, you know me. I don't quite have the gift of gab that you do, but I do like to talk. And I'm going to probably get confused at some point and get this thing kind of mixed up. And then what do? He said, all you have to remember is red turns on red, green turns on green, yellow turns on yellow, blue turns on blue. That's all you got to remember. I said, okay, I think I can remember that. Because I do have another question, though. I said, I go places, and I, like Lance did tonight, you invite people to come up on stage and help you. So I have people here on stage tonight, so I'm gonna let y'all help me.
Okay.
So, Joe, one for you.
Thank you so much.
Elle, one for
All
you.
right.
Okay.
Steve's going to be a microphone holder, so Van, a bulb for you. Jack, one for you. And just put them in there
It
anywhere.
is a
We'll
little
let
scary.
Van go
Anywhere?
first. Just anywhere you want to. Yeah, just put
Van's
them in
gonna
there.
go first.
And I can kind of help you screw it in if you have a little trouble.
Van is kind of messing with the UK Wildcat color there.
Just snug it up. That's good.
I'm going
That's
to follow
good.
it up.
Yep, go
I'm
ahead.
going to put a blue next
All
to that one.
And I said, now these are going to be nice people that I invite to help.
Yellow, blue. Okay.
That's
got it.
right.
Yep,
and
we'll
they're
do
going to,
this.
you know, they're
Maybe.
going to do their best, and I don't think they're going to intentionally mess me up, but it's just that they're not used to being in front of an audience. Of course, you guys are. Sorry, Jack. Anywhere you like. You know, just-
I'll put it over here. Little red
and
green.
I said, so it's a real possibility if I get a lot of people on stage that, you know, it could really get messed up. And then what do? He said, David, I'm going to say this one more time. All you have to remember is red turns on red, yellow turns on yellow, blue turns on blue, green turns on green. That's all you got to remember. I said, okay, I think I've got it. So I packed it up, took all the bulbs out, wrapped them in the you know, the t-shirt and everything, put them on an airplane. Have you been on an airplane lately? I mean, you know, they just toss your stuff around, and they
the
charge you
baggage
to.
claim, come on.
That's right, and they charge. And I think this is what happened. I didn't even know these things came off, but I think these things came off, and because when I opened up my suitcase, here's what had happened. My theory is that they popped off, and the TSA inspector saw what had happened and just panicked.
Yeah.
And really fast, like just threw them back on there. And so you're going to be the TSA inspector. Where do you want the blue one to go?
I mean, I guess you could put it right there, right?
On red?
Yeah.
Okay.
Blue on red.
Blue on red.
Joe, yellow. Where do you want to put it? Yellow.
Well, not on yellow.
No, don't put it on yellow.
No, we're going to do it on green. I think.
You're going to put it on here?
Yeah.
All right, Van, we got red and blue, red and green left. Christmas.
Put the green there.
Put the green one there. And so don't tell me, Jack.
How about that? Yeah.
So I opened up my suitcase, and this is what I found. I went, oh, man, you know, what happened here? Then I thought, oh, Steve, what do? He said, David, I keep telling you, you just have to remember, red turns on red, yellow turns on yellow,
Unbelievable.
blue turns on blue, green. And if you can remember that, then you've got it. I said, okay, I'm sorry to bother you, but I got one more question. I said, like, when I do a show, you know, you run the lights and sounds for me because I'm on stage performing. I can't do all this. He said, it's easy. You can teach somebody how to do it. And so, Elle, you're going to be my LD. LD, lighting designer or lighting director.
Okay.
Now here's the thing. You have the power. Do you feel the power?
I feel it.
You have all the power.
Yes.
You can make anything do anything. So here's the way it works. You're on the control panel. I'm on stage. And then somebody else is calling the cues to you. Okay? And so we're going to start the show off with a piece that's kind of romantic. And so what that means is I'm going to want probably red lighting for that.
Right.
So the director is seeing that, and they're going to whisper to you, Elle, give David some red stage light. Which now remember, you have total control.
Total control?
Total control. Don't be limited by your understanding of reality. All I care about, I don't care which one of these switches get flipped, as long as I get red light.
Red light?
It doesn't matter what, go ahead, anyone you like.
All right, let's just see.
Excellent. And the show
did you
is
see that?
off and running. Now, next we're going to move to a color. I don't like this color, but you have to use it. It's amber. You have to use it in theater from time to time. So you're going to hear the next cue. David needs amber for this next trick. So give him some amber light.
Amber light.
That would be yellow.
So.
You've already flipped the yellow.
Go for it. Yeah, you've already flipped yellow, but that's okay. Remember, you have total control.
Total
you feel
control.
the power.
I feel it. All right.
Very good.
Nicely done, nicely done. Now this is the color.
I don't know how I'm
Steve knows
doing
this,
it.
because Jack probably knows it too, because they've seen me do. You know, I prefer the blues. I love the blues. It's a soft, and it's a cool, warm olive. And so the main part of the show is going to be blue. So we got two switches. We got two switches left. So just give me some blue.
All right.
You're awesome.
Oh my gosh.
You're awesome. And then this particular show happens to be during the holiday season. Going to need green. We got one switch left, and so go for it. There you go. And you did. So yeah, we can give her a hand.
Wow.
So I said, that is awesome. I said, Steve, I love it. I said, you know, it's colorful. It attracts attention. I can pack it up and take it with me, and I can teach anybody how to do it just on a moment's notice. I said, it's perfect. Thank you so much. I just got one more question. How does it work? And Steve said, David, you of all people ought to know. It's magic.
Fantastic.
Very well done.
Good job,
Thank you. Good job.
Thank you so much. So does that? So since I had the power, does that continue on?
You got the power. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
So it's been an honor to be here with you guys tonight.
Well, thank you.
And my friend Steve and my new friend Elle.
Jack and Van and Joe, you're going to stick around a little bit. Jack and Van, thank you so much for coming and staying a lot longer than what I told you we were going to have.
I know it's past your bedtime.
Well, it's probably been a while since you did that all night stuff.
But I knew if I could get you guys talking that you'd stay for a little bit.
So fascinating. So fascinating.
So thank you. I hope you guys at home have enjoyed getting to hear the stories from these guys and seeing a little bit of magic. Ken Abbott's coming up, Joe Arnold's coming up, and Joe Federley's coming up as well. We're going to play you another Crusade story, how your Crusade dollars work, coming up here in just a second. You can be a part of the 70th WHAS Crusade for Children by calling 582-7511 or 1-888-382-7511. Donate online at WHAScrusade.com. That's all secure. Jack, Van, David, thank you so much for being here this morning. And we want you to watch how your Crusade dollars work, and we'll be right back.
Brian was quiet, but he liked people. He helped people. You could always count on Brian to be there to help you.
He was a special individual. If he saw a need and he could fulfill it, he did. He was like the quiet friend that you always needed.
Brian passed away in January of 2022, very suddenly. It was unexpected. He, all of a sudden was gone from our lives and has left a real gap.
Hello, I'm Barbara Lindsay. I was Brian Lindsay's sister-in-law.
I'm Jim Holmberg, and I was Brian's first cousin, and he really was much more like a brother and a best friend to me.
Well, I knew the Lindsays since I was 14, and actually I babysat Brian. In these later years, we would go to the movies together. The last movie we saw was Christmas, right before he died. And when he said goodbye to me, he kissed me on the cheek. And he had never done that before. And that's a moment I will always remember.
My son Aaron is his godson. Aunt Margie, Brian's mom, was his godmother. And so when I asked both Brian and Aunt Margie if they would be his godparents, they didn't hesitate for a moment. Brian was a huge U of L fan.
Oh my God.
Aaron and Brian would go to the Final Four, they'd go to bowl games, they'd do all this and that, and so Brian and Aaron were very tight.
My son would go to games with Brian too, and they went to New York and they went to a lot of places. He was so special.
Brian's had a lifelong love of dogs.
You never saw Brian without a dog.
After Brian passed, we wanted to do something in his memory and helping to establish a legacy in Brian Lindsay's name. Barbara and myself and his 5 other beneficiaries, we have established an endowment here at the Crusade for Children to help at-needs children with service animals. When we tried to think of a way to really memorialize Brian and make sure his memory lived on, we knew the Crusade very well. We knew their just stellar reputation. The Crusade just right away rose to the top of the list. This is something that is important and is a real need to try to make sure kids that have these special needs will have an opportunity to get a service animal that will help them.
For us to be able to do this service in Brian's name, because he was so special, and the help that the dogs give will be so special. So it was a great way to remember him.
And those are just the many ways your Crusade dollars work. Of course, you can donate right now, be a part of the 70th Crusade for Children, 582-7511. You can donate securely online, WHCrusade.com. And of course, you can scan the QR code in the bottom of your screen right there. Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Apple Pay, all the ways to join in on the Crusade. We got Joe Arnold here again.
Hello.
Hello, it is 2:15 in the morning. Are you ready to sing?
We're going to see if I am or not. You know, we just saw that great clip. Thank you, Joe Federle, of putting that together, the tribute to Wayne Perky. But also on there, Melissa Swan, longtime Crusade host with Wayne. And I was thinking about this as I was driving in tonight, that one of my assignments, you know, one of the great things about being a reporter here, which I was for years, was Crusade Week and being able to go out and cover the story. So it was the Friday of Crusade Week. I was out with the Highview Fire Department, and they had a karaoke set up out there. And so they tossed to me during the 5:30 News Live. I don't know if Max was working at that time or not, and they caught me on the news then singing "My Way" from Frank Sinatra.
Oh my goodness!
And they carried the whole thing. They didn't. I mean, one of the few times I ever did not get the rap. You know, they let the whole thing go through. So we're going to try to see if at 2:15 in the morning if I can remember these words.
Hold on. Are you getting ready to leave, Max? Yeah. Come here for just a second.
Come on, we're twins.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not Jack Fox, but Max Miners, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm going to sound old. I watched this kid grow up.
I watched you grow up.
Oh no!
When we rolled the piece earlier of you and Van, I was like, "This is how Steve Kirkland looks in my head."
Oh my goodness!
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I remember Steve being a radio engineer in this building. Yeah, my dad worked in this building when I was little, and it's odd because I work here now. The radio moved out of this building in 1998, but when I was a little kid, I would get dropped off at this building to go be at my dad's house on the weekend. And so I've literally been running around here my entire life. And I remember Steve, the radio engineer.
So you started, when did you start here?
2011.
2011. And you've been on a lot of the overnights with me.
Every single one.
Yeah.
Since 2011, yeah.
Yeah. So it's always good to see you.
Come along. Oh, it's good to see you too, buddy.
I always have some odd request and want to do something weird, and Max is like, "That's great!"
Yes, you're always so enthusiastic. I see this man every single day. He's always just so excited to show up and just be a part of everything.
Thanks, Elle. That's so sweet. I could say the exact same about you.
Love it.
So thanks for being part of Crusade 70. You coming back to direct in
tomorrow? I'll be here.
Right?
Yep, for the close. I do the big close with the tote board total at the end. That's my thing now too.
All right. Well, we're glad you're here.
Thank you.
Max Miners, everybody.
Yes.
Very good. Thanks.
Go home and get some sleep so you can come back and work some more. Sorry, Joe.
That's all right. Please. Are we gonna try this?
Yeah, let's try.
Max just said, I think he said weird, and just try things. So we're gonna see if we can cue this up and get a little song for Elle and Steve. All right.
My friend Joe Arnold.
All right, take it away.
And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friends, I'll say it clear, I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full. I've traveled each and every highway and more much more than this. I did it my way. Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. I did what I had to do and saw it through without exemption. To think I did all that, and may I say, not in a shy way. Oh no, not me. I did it my way. Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when I bit off more than I could chew. But through it all, when there was doubt, I ate it up and spit it out. I faced it all, and I stood tall and did it my way. I've lived, I've laughed and cried, I've had my fill, my share of losing. And now, as tears subside, I find it all so amusing to think I did all that, and I'll say again, not in a shy way. Oh no, not me. I did it my way. For what is a man? What has he got? If not himself, then he has not to say the things he truly feels, and not the words of one who kneels. The record shows I took the blows and did it my way. That was that, girl.
How about that?
Happy Crusade for Children.
How about
this
that?
Is what this is called the Overindulgent Hour at 2 o'clock. Back when I hosted the overnight show, Steve, when no one else would call in, I'd have to make things up. So thanks, Max. Thanks, everybody from St. X. Thanks, Brian and Elle and Steve.
So what came first? Did radio come first or did singing come first?
They both came about the same time.
Okay.
When I was growing up, I volunteered for a radio station in St. Louis area for what's called the print handicapped or print disabled, I guess. It was a radio station that was a subcarrier. Bear with me for a minute here. Okay, so you have to have a special unit to pick it up. But for people who were blind or otherwise print disabled, and I would go in there as a high schooler and I would read the newspaper or magazines, or I'd work the board.
Nice.
And so, but at the same time, I was doing the musicals at school and everything else. I spent the first couple of years out of school kind of doing theater stuff, and then, but I always knew I wanted to get back to radio and TV.
Yeah, cool.
See, he asks a simple question, but it's it's overnight. You can give long answers.
Yes, and we love stories, and we've loved all
We're
the
here
stories
until
all
6.
night. Yeah, we are. We're keeping the
And I
lights
won't
on
be.
over here.
Elle, you do a fantastic job.
Well, thank you so
and welcome.
much.
How long have you been at WHAS TV now?
10 months.
10 months, so not quite a whole year.
Yes.
It is in fact your first crusade.
It is.
I think she's a keeper, Steve.
I listen. Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm thinking Elle, Steve next year. If Van still practices the guitar for 2 hours every morning. He shook my hand. He wasn't quite excited about it, but I'm thinking we're going to do something together next year.
That'd be great.
If you'll have me back.
You're welcome back anytime you want.
All right.
Anytime
Thanks
you
for
want.
indulging
Hey,
me.
we've got a little magic. You mind?
Oh, I
staying
want
for
to see
that?
this. Please.
Ken, come on back in.
This is
Ken
great.
Abbott
Let's go, Ken.
is still here. We're going to keep Joe Arnold so that he can be.
I am not going to
mesmerized and
steal
amazed. I'm
Ken's
gonna let
lines
you-
this time.
All
I'm going to
right,
be quiet.
all right.
This is
Ken, what do you have
exciting.
for us this time?
Can you put that in your left hand?
I will. Let me just hold it for you.
Mic
Let
stand.
me be the mic stand.
I have here, I'll let you check these out. These are Morgan silver dollars.
certainly are.
Almost pure silver.
Wow.
You see the eagle on the back?
Yes.
I do.
I have trained my eagles to fly. Let me show you what I mean. One at a time, they fly from the right hand to the left. All I do is make a fist, wiggle my thumbs, and they go. Okay? So let me line them up here for you. How many coins?
4.
4 coins. All I do is make a fist, wiggle my thumbs. 1 coin goes over.
Holy.
Wait a second.
Now I can make them go singly or individually. Which would you
These
like?
are, hang on.
Singly or
These are
individually?
real Morgan. My grandmother gave me one. This is the
Yeah.
real Morgan silver. I'm
That's
sorry
right.
to touch it. That's amazing.
Wow.
3 there.
All right.
1 here. All I do is make a fist, wiggle my thumbs. 2 and 2. 2 and 2.
Okay, he is right in front of us, folks. This is not TV
It's
special
not.
effects.
Like
This
we
one
do
will-
TV magic, but this is like next level,
This
right?
one will go next, followed by this one here. 2 there. 2 here. All I do is wiggle my thumbs. 3 and 1. 3 and 1.
Am I like delusional?
I
like
think you
around
are.
2:30
It is 2:30 in the morning.
Now that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. I want you to hold your hand out. I'm going to give you 3, and I want you to make a tight fist with them. Turn your hand over. I'll keep the other one here for everybody to see. Tight fist. Turn it over. I'm going to try to gently as I can squeeze that coin right through those. All I got to do is grab it like that. All I got to do is massage it just like that, right into your hand.
Get
Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Did it hurt when it went through? I tried to be gentle with you. You may have a little bruise on the back of your hand.
Something else.
Oh
thank
my
you.
goodness.
Thank you. Well, anyway.
I'm too stunned.
Anyway, I'm still kind of figuring this out.
I started magic about 25 years ago. Back when I was 42 years old, I started magic.
Wow.
And right about that time, a guy named David Blaine had his very first special on. David inspired a new generation of young magicians to do new magic in new ways. And we went from stage magic to street magic. We went from tuxedos and top hats to jeans and jerseys. Went from performing coin magic with quarters to silver dollars, from rings and ropes to rubber bands. But when it comes to card magic, when it comes to card magic, not quite time to start the music. Yeah. When it comes to card magic, the red cards are always on the red side.
Okay.
And the blue cards are always on the blue side.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Because when it comes to card magic, some things never change. Now the music can go.
Music time.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I was young, I had a lot of dreams. I knew when to start and when to begin. Had many thoughts that I just kept within. I wanted to become a lot of things. Some things haven't changed. I got older, days that passed me by. I knew when to go and to say goodbye. The dreams I dreamed became my memory. I was young at heart and hard to please. Some things never change. Some things never change.
Oh.
What?
Okay.
Okay.
He's
What?
again, no camera tricks here,
Yeah.
folks. It is just simply
Simply
right
magic.
in front of our eyes. Blue on blue,
and
red
red
on
on
red. Despite the fact
And he's
that
switching.
he's switching sides. Holy cow!
Oh my goodness. Some things never change,
things
but
change.
the decks change and they
Yeah.
don't change.
Look at that. Red, red, red.
Red. And they're blue.
Blue.
Blue on the blue side.
Blue on the blue side.
We're looking at it right now. And then watch, he's gonna flip them.
Yeah, they are.
Yep. And he's gonna swap them. And they don't change. And they don't
Wait a
change.
second. Okay, you're a joker. There they amazing.
There they are.
All right, I'm gonna put the microphone down. I'm gonna have to clap for this.
Yes.
Thank you.
Round of applause.
This is amazing.
It is. Blue.
Yeah, but that should be blue. That should, that card was just blue.
And
that
it's
card was
now
just
red.
blue. I swear to you,
It
it was
is. Oh my goodness. Oh, now the whole deck.
blue. No, don't even. Don't even. Oh! This is literally right in front of our face.
I don't know what's going on, but I love it.
We probably shouldn't be talking to you at this point. He has to concentrate. Okay, what's he doing? No way!
I saw.
There you go.
What?
right,
Oh
all
my
right.
goodness. Oh my
Thank you.
goodness. You're speechless.
I've never seen this trick before. That is very impressive, Ken.
Thank you.
Very
Thank
impressive.
That was
That was great.
That
Thank
was
you.
amazing.
That was.
Thank you.
Ken, if
Wow.
people want to find out more about you, how can they do that?
They can Google me, I guess.
Okay.
I don't have a Facebook.
Okay.
If you wanted me to give my phone number out, I could, but I'm not sure if I
Well,
should do
if
that.
you're involved with the Louisville Magic Club, is
Louisville
that
Magic
correct?
Club,
If
yes.
people want to reach out to Louisville Magic Club, just ask for Ken Abbott and they
That
can
is
get you
great.
in touch with
Thank you.
them.
Literally right
In
here.
front of our. I mean, seriously, I've seen the magicians on the TV shows.
Oh, yeah.
And you always just kind of assume or presume that there's something going on there, an edit.
Yeah. No, this
There was no edit.
This was
This is-
live
Yep.
TV.
Believe me, this is the Crusade for Children overnight. There was no editing going on.
No.
This is completely live.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
That was
Appreciate
amazing.
it.
Do you need some time to set up, David? Or you,
David?
okay, David's going to come back in. Do you have another
I
illusion
can
that?
stay for another set if you need
Okay,
me later.
sure,
It's up to you.
absolutely. Ken will be back in just a few minutes. We're going to swap out. David's got a trick. Joe, just take. Okay, we'll
We'll just hang out. We're good.
we'll be your microphone stand.
Yeah.
Any good? See, that's
Oh,
how
man,
you,
that's
that's how you
fantastic.
get invited to Fectors.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I've already read your mind once tonight.
Yeah, you have.
Cracker bucket.
You've
So
given me the power tonight
So
too.
let's try again. We'll just sit that over there before we start. And I have here some simple number cards. 1, 2, 3.
Am I gonna
4.
do math?
Yes, you are. Well,
I
if you're
was.
gonna-
I didn't sign up
You're
for
going to do
math.
math. Don't worry, we got a calculator in the back pocket if we need to.
All right, that's right. Right here.
All right. So now here's the thing, folks. When you lay out the numbers like this, when they're next to each other, they influence each other in some strange ways. We've seen a lot of strange things tonight. Let me see if I can demonstrate. I'm going to give you a choice, Elle. 1, 2, 3, 4. Any number in that first row.
2.
2. You want to change your mind? You like the mind you've got?
Yes.
We gave her a chance. Okay. So is there a particular reason you chose 2?
Even number.
Okay.
2.
All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to take away the other numbers
Okay.
in the row,
Yep.
and we're going to take away the other numbers
Oh, that row.
in the column. Okay. All right, 5, 7, or 8.
7.
Oh, any particular reason? I know why I would choose 7, but
7 because 70th Crusade.
that was good. That was
that was good.
That was good. All right. So
Lucky number 7 too,
we're
but
gonna-
70th Crusade.
That's right. Lucky number 7, perfect number. We'll leave the 7. We'll take these away, and we'll take away the ones
11 and 15.
Okay.
11, 15. All right, so one more choice, 9 or 12?
12.
Particular reason?
We got the 2 up top. I like a pattern, kind of.
Okay, so
2.
we're going to keep the 12,
Yep,
so we'll take away the
Also,
6.
they're serving donuts after.
Oh, that's right.
That's right. It
Yesterday
does-
was donut day, I think. All right, so these are the 4 that are left.
Yep.
Okay, now comes the math time. You can take off your shoes, or I don't care who does it. Somebody add these up for me.
I was
We can do
not
it
the
together.
math
Let's
major.
do it this way.
34.
34, so that'd be 20, and that'd be
13
22.
plus 2 plus 7.
23, 24, 34. I think you're
34.
right.
Good job. Good job.
Before we did any of this.
She didn't trust you.
And
She
before
didn't.
you made the choices. Now remember, if you'd have chosen any different number, the total would not be 34.
Right.
If this was an 8, the total would be 35.
Yeah.
If this was a 1, the total would be 33.
Right.
But this is what we have.
Yeah.
Before we did any of this.
If I'm going to flip that card over, and it's going to be...
Check it out.
34.
I don't understand. I never will. But that was amazing. How did you do it twice tonight?
Well, see, there's something about you.
Oh,
you
you're
have,
magic.
I have the
And
power.
see, you do.
You
because
gave me the power.
Check this out. This is where it gets really crazy.
No.
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 No. God, that is.
Wow.
I'm too stunned to speak right now.
You did awesome.
For those watching at home, her name is Elle.
It's true.
And it just so
For
happened,
radio folks, it says ELLE on the
ELLE.
cards when you flip them over.
and it says 34.
Thank you very much.
Oh my goodness.
I've not seen that one.
This is all. It's innovative.
It is.
And a little frightening.
Yeah.
Don't worry, we use our powers for good. Like this. Remember,
Yes.
the number is, I can't read it. Somebody read it out.
582-7511. You can donate online as well, WHAScrusade.org. Or if you're watching us on TV, you can scan the QR code at the bottom of your screen, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, and Apple Pay. And of course, you can join the party on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube as well.
David, that's your last
That's
illusion?
it.
Okay. Tell people how they can get in touch with you.
Right there, www.davidgerardmagic.com. You can find me on YouTube, Facebook, and beginning next Saturday and Sunday, you can find me at Kentucky Kingdom every Saturday and Sunday afternoon through the second week of July.
That's really fun.
Then, pleased to announce, this is actually a premier announcement here. Back at the Kentucky State Fair.
Oh, fantastic.
In something brand new this year called the Big Tent.
Fantastic.
Ooh.
I just got a text a few minutes ago from David Beck, the CEO of Kentucky Venues at the State Fair, and he's watching us right now.
Well, David's a
So
good
David,
friend.
so
And
there
I'm
you
looking
have it.
forward to being out there
And
with
for our
David.
radio listeners, since David you spelled David Gerard.
Gerard.
Gerard, but it's spelled G. I say that's the reason I do that. I think
That's good.
but it's David and then GARRARD magic.com. DavidGerardMagic.com. Gerard.
Gerard.
Well, I keep doing
Well,
this. You
we
know
got
why?
a Garrett County,
Yeah,
and there was a
exactly.
David Gerard that played for East Carolina that some
Okay.
people remember. That
David Gerard.
and I'm
This
the-
is actually
like the soft G, I think they
this
say.
is actually a kind of a plan I have because we just keep saying your name.
I like it.
Plug it,
How
plug
much
it, plug it,
Marketing.
plug it.
David GerardMagic.com, Steve.
And I'll also be back at Kentucky Kingdom in October for Pumpkins.
Oh,
that's always fun.
That's going to be
so
so much.
fun.
It's a brand new thing. They're doing a great job. They're really
They
targeting
are.
families.
Yes.
And we had the privilege of being out there last year with a big stage show.
Yeah.
And they want us back, so we'll be back. And that's
Good.
going to be a ton of fun. And
Good.
if you come out there, you'll probably hear Jack's voice and Steve's voice and several other voices.
If only I
this
got residuals
No
for that.
kidding.
Oh, man.
They've never invited me to
I
sing,
didn't.
though. That's a whole other story.
Stick around. You might be able to. Are you sticking around for a little bit longer, or you gotta go?
I need to head out.
Okay.
But I want to be able to watch this. I want to be able to see the magic from home.
Awesome.
I want to see how it looks on the big
On the
screen.
big screen.
And here's the thing. I would not be here tonight in this studio right now were it not for Joe Arnold because he let me in. The sheriffs didn't
There
have
you
a
go.
pass
Literally.
key, and it was like,
I
can hold the door.
used Steve's secret plan, which was a folding chair, holding up the door. So, by
I'm
the
sure
way,
we have violated all kinds of
come to
security.
think of it, I don't
Oh, yeah.
think I put that chair back.
Joe, thank you for being here. Joe Arnold, everybody, longtime Crusade host, longtime WHAS radio and TV employee. David, thank you for being here.
I almost said I'll see you in the morning, but I'll see you later
See
today.
you later.
And we'll catch you next year or sometime in
Yes.
between, I hope.
Yes, I will certainly
Ken's
be
coming
back.
back.
If you're coming back, I'm coming back because that was amazing.
Thank you for a fun night.
I think
Yes.
Ken Abbott's got one more that he's going to do in just a second. Are you ready, Ken? If you're ready, or would you like a few minutes if you're not ready? Okay, well, we'll just go ahead and do that. After Ken, we're going to take a look at a past performance back from 1983 Johnny Rivers, but we're going to let Ken come in here so that he can get home. It's at 2:40 in the East here at WHAS TV and WHAS Radio. You're watching and listening to the 70th WHAS Crusade for Children. Ken, come on back in here. Show us what you've got.
I want to give you all a lesson in very sophisticated misdirection. Your sleight of hand doesn't have to be perfect if you have really good misdirection. So
Okay.
I wanted to show you. We have a redback joker, 2, 3, 4 redback jokers.
Yep.
There's 1, 2, 3, 4 blueback queens.
Yep.
What I'm going to do with you all watching me is I'm going to take the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4. Redback jokers are going to go in my pocket.
Yep.
One at a time, a blueback queen is going to go into my pocket. A redback joker is going to come out to take its place, not once but 4 times in a row without you seeing me do anything. You ready? Mm-hmm. Okay, here we go. There's a principle in magic that says the eye follows motion. My hand went up here, adjusted my glasses. You all didn't see my hand dart into my pocket
No.
and pull
got a
out
wide
that,
shot, right?
and
No
pull
one
out
saw it
that
at
first
home.
redback
Oh my
joker.
gosh.
Yeah, that was the first one to go. Sir, did you see it? Principle number 2, I looked over at him. I asked him a question. He looked me in the eye. You all looked over there. Nobody saw my hand dart into my pocket
No.
and pull out that second redback joker. That leaves me with 2 queens to go. I'll put those, there we go. Don't take your eyes off my hand. Don't take your eyes off my hand.
Now you're coughing.
Principle number 3. I told you not to take your eyes off, and then I made this fake cough, and you're thinking he's making this fake cough. He's trying to distract me. But when you were thinking that, there was just a little disconnect. That allowed my time for my hand to go in the pocket and get out that third redback joker, leaving me with just 1 queen to go. I'll bury that queen in the middle.
Okay, saw that.
There's
Saw
no
it.
joker
Right-
on the,
right
I
in
mean,
the
there's a
middle.
joker on the bottom, a joker on the top. It's going to be difficult for me to get that queen out and the joker back in. It'll happen when my hand passes right by there.
Okay.
Did you see it? Did you see it? Because now I have not 1, not 2, but 3, 4 redback jokers and no queens.
Wow.
Thank you.
What?
And that's your lesson in misdirection. Thank you.
There's a lot I can learn from you.
Well, yes, there is. I'm a lawyer, see. Illusion, misdirection.
PhD in
Yeah, was good at
architecture
it.
too.
Yeah.
So you're a lawyer by day.
I'm a semi-retired judge at this point.
Oh, okay, okay.
I substitute for other judges when they're on vacation, do things like that.
Now, did I hear you earlier that you played tennis, or you're a tennis instructor, and you've played with Van?
His son played against me in high school.
Okay, all right, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
He was Van was actually a tennis teacher back then.
Wow,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Very cool.
Ken Abbott,
thank you.
everybody.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so
Thank you.
much. That was amazing.
Thank you for
We've had
being here.
Such amazing acts, amazing conversations,
Yes.
and stories all tonight.
Unbelievable.
Yes.
Joe Federley, you're going to come up here in just a second. You're staying around, right? Okay, good. Joe didn't want to be here too late.
I know he didn't, but he's here,
Not
got
sure-
a big old
Not
smile
sure what
on
his
his face.
definition of too late is, but he's sticking around. So thank you for that. And we want you to be a part of the 70th WHAS Crusade for Children. 582-7511, 1-888-382-7511 is very easy for you to be a part. One of the things that Elle and I told you about early on when we started at 11:45 yesterday.
Already yesterday? Oh my goodness.
It's now 2:45 in the morning here at the WHAS TV and radio, and it's the 70th WHAS Crusade for Children. But we said we were going to go back and take a look at some past crusades.
Yes.
So we're going to hop back all the way to 1983, the year before I started volunteering at the crusade. This is Johnny Rivers.
Thanks a lot. There's a man who leads a life of danger. To everyone he meets, he stays a stranger. How with every move he makes, another chance he takes. The odds are he won't live to see tomorrow. Secret agent man, secret agent man, they've given you a number. I know they've taken away your life. Beware of pretty faces that you find. Pretty face can hide an evil mind. Oh, be careful what you say, you'll give yourself away. The odds are you won't live to see tomorrow. Secret agent man, secret agent man, they've given you a number. I know they've taken away your name. Secret agent man, secret agent man, they've given you a number. Lord, they've taken away your name. Everybody talking about the seventh son. All around world there is only one. He's the one. I know he's the one. He's the one, he's the one he called a seventh son. Now he can tell your future it will come to pass. Do things to you, make your heart feel glad. Look in the sky, predict the rain. Tell when a woman got a good man. He's the one. My, he's the one. He's the one he called a seventh son. That'll sound so sweet. Lord, they make your little heart skip a beat. Heal the sick, raise the dead, make the little girls talk out of their head. He's the one. My, he's the one. He's the one he called a seventh son. He's the one. Hey, he's the one. Nah, he's the one. The one he called a seventh son. My, he's the one, the one he called a seventh son. Hey. very much. Thank you. This next song was originally written and recorded by a great American composer, Mr. Smokey Robinson. We had a big hit with it in the 60s, and Linda Ronstadt had one after that. And we'd like to do this one for you now. People say I'm the life of the party, cause tell a joke or two. You know I might be laughing loud and hearty, deep inside I'm blue. So take a good look in my face. You see my smile looks out of place. If you look closer, it's easy to trace the tracks of my tears. I need you, I need you. If you see me, this other girl acting like I'm having fun, well, now she might be cute, but she's a substitute. You know, you're the only one. Ooh, take a good look at my face. You can tell my smile looks out of place. If you look closer, it's easy to trace the tracks of my tears. Outside, I'm masquerading. Inside, my hope is fading. Just a clown. Well, since she put me down, my smile is my makeup. I wear since my breakup with you. Baby, baby, take a good look at my face. You know my smile looks out of place. If you look closer, it's easy to trace the tracks of my tears. Baby, 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 take a good look at my face. You know my smile looks out of place. If you look closer, it's so easy to trace the tracks of my tears. Thank you so much. We've got time for just one more song right now, so we had a lot of requests to do this. People called in and stuff, so we'd like to do this for all the folks from all around this area and also from Tennessee who might be looking in as well. Long distance information, give me Memphis, Tennessee. Help me find a party that tried to get in touch with me. Well, she did not leave a number, but I know who placed the call. Cause my uncle took the message and he wrote it on the wall. Help me information, get in touch with my Marie. She's the only one who'd call me here from Memphis, Tennessee. Well, her home is on the side, high up on a ridge, just a half a mile from the Mississippi Bridge. Saw her, she was waving me goodbye. But hurry home drops on a cheek that trickled from her eye. We were pulled apart because her mom did not agree, and tore apart our happy home in Memphis, Tennessee. Help me information, more than that I cannot add. Only that I miss her and all the fun we had. Marie's only 6 years old. Information, please. You got to put me through to her in Memphis, Tennessee.
Johnny Rivers.
Johnny Rivers from 1983. I almost said 73. That would not be correct. 1983 on the Crusade for Children. It's 2:55. You're watching the Crusade on WHAS TV and listening on News Radio 840 WHAS, both in Louisville, Kentucky. And we're so glad that you are a part of the Crusade. Elle Bottom is my co-host. Welcome, Elle. It's Elle's first Crusade.
Very first Crusade. Your 39th
Yes,
Crusade.
yeah.
I've just been living amongst greatness these past couple hours. I mean, it was so fun having Joe Arnold and, you know, everyone else that was coming on, all the magic.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
of course, we have a legend right here, Joe Federle, WHAS editor, historian, mastermind of every single event that has ever happened at WHAS.
Elle, when I invited Jack
I don't know if
Fox,
all that's true, but-
it is true. When I invited Jack Fox and Vance
Yes.
and Joe Arnold on, the next phone call I made was to Joe Federle. Actually, it was a text, I guess. And I said, hey, Joe, I need 1958, I need 1973, hey, could you go back and see if you could find a clip of me and Van together? And when was it, yesterday or the day before, I get a text, got everything you want, couldn't find 58, but found 63, which it was great. So thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. Hey, Jack and, they all deserve that,
Yeah.
I mean, Vance, your first Crusade co-hosting was with Vance in 1998.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, all of them, they do such a great job, and we're lucky. That was incredible. You had them all together.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It really was.
It really was an honor to meet them.
Yeah, it's a special time. Those are great friends that I had the pleasure of working with.
Did you set that up?
Did I set what up?
Them coming. Yeah. That's
yeah.
You have a lot of pull. That's great. That's wonderful.
Put them on speed dial.
You know, it's good when they're your friends and they're like, hey, I'm doing the Crusade. Okay. It's overnight. Okay. Would you like to come be on? Absolutely. So
in a heartbeat.
Right. It shows you the importance that Crusade holds in a lot of people's hearts.
They're good folks. But before we get into taking a look back at some other special stuff that you have found for the Crusade, let's take a look at the tote board and see how your generosity is helping. We're at $1,752,561.32 for the 70th
million.
WHAS Crusade for Children. I'm not sure, but I would have to say that we are close to a record overnight at where the total is. I'm not sure that we've ever gone over 2 million on the overnight. I don't think that we have. But man, at the rate we're going at 3 a.m., I got to feel pretty confident that we're going to hit that $2 million mark before we go off the air at 6 a.m.
I think so.
I was looking at 20 years ago, pulling tape this morning, tonight, and at this time, it was never before over 1 million.
Yeah.
And those 2000, that was a record. That was a really good year for us. So this is wonderful news.
Yeah, it's always been several $100,000 dollars early on, but never this total this early in the day. So I have to think that cool things are going to happen this year for the 70th Crusade. I was watching some of the variety.
Lucky Seven.
Lucky Seven.
Seven.
I was watching some of the variety show coming in with Lance Burton and the Crashers and Southern Sirens and some other Crusade regulars. And Terry came out a couple of times. And he said, how about $70 for the crusade? He
Yeah.
said, or you could do 700
Or
7,000 or 70,000.
Well,
So-
on that note, John Charlton was the first live shot of the Crusade today in Ballardsville, and I liked what he said. He says, "We just need one of those billionaires to get in, and 700 million."
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
He
I
said,
mean-
"This is nothing to Warren Buffett." I'm talking to you, Warren Buffett. He said. I was like, "That's a good challenge."
Yes.
So, Joe, how long have you been at the station?
Oh, I started in 2002, June of 2002.
Okay. And did you grow up around here?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
of course. And my grandmother, my father, everybody told me, if you ever do anything with charity, make sure it's the Crusade, because 100% goes to the children. And that has not changed since I was a kid. That's a great legacy.
So you have a great knack, for a lack of better terms. You love the history. You love the history of the Crusade. You love the history of this station. How did that happen?
Probably my great aunt Jeannie and my grandmother telling me how great the station was. And I mean, if you took the Crusade away from the station, which you couldn't, which that's what I love, it wouldn't be as special. But the Crusade is just such a great part of it that no other station has. And they would love to have it, and we're just so blessed that we do it. And like I was saying the other day, it's not just so many things in life. You look back because it's a great history thing, it's a great historical thing, but in this case, it's part of our present and future too. It's not like it's something in the past. Like these great variety shows are wonderful to look at, but it's also awesome to look at. Like a few hours ago, we had the 70th. And we'll have the 71st because of everybody showing support. So we don't take that for granted. It's only possible because of the love of this community. So it's a great way. The station has created a perfect avenue for this station, for this community to come together and show so much love over all these decades. It's unparalleled, I think. And that's what I've always fell in love with. And the station, like you were saying earlier, it's changed hands. It's almost like it's not natural that it would go on this way because different companies change, owners change. They say, oh, what's great is you can look at the different company ownerships over the years from this TV station and the radio, but you still have that bond like nothing's changed from 1954. So we're very thankful for that.
So you've done some great stuff that folks may have seen throughout the week. And we want to share some of that stuff as well.
Right. Long form.
Yeah.
When you're editing for a newscast, obviously, and Great Day Live too, the number one thing is how long does it run?
Right.
So the great thing about this overnight show is, as I've done before, is it's open-ended. You can show long form things. So the things that you saw on the newscast leading up to this week, we'll be able to show full form tonight.
Okay. Yes. So where do we want to go first? Tell us what we're going to see, and then tell us a little bit about it. We'll give the control room time to find it.
Well, the first one, because Joe Arnold just left, and I understand he had to leave eventually, but do you remember, I gave it away when I asked him, which is good because he's not here to quiz. Do you remember the first year he did the overnight with you?
I do. I don't remember exactly what year it was, but I do remember.
You need to get the year. This is a trivia quiz portion of the overnight show.
I know that Van retired in '99. Yeah. From radio.
From full time, right.
From full time. So I believe, and I talked to Van tonight. He was not sure if he did the '99 Crusade. I think Joe's first Crusade was 2000 then. No,
his first crusade, his 1998, he did with you. The clip that we saw earlier. That was his last one.
Van. 1998 was Van's last one. Okay. Yeah, so then Joe was 99.
Right. So I guess he retired from radio in '99 before the Crusade.
Yeah. So I did 2 Crusades with Van. So I did the '97 Crusade with Van.
'97 was Donna Lacey Marshall with Van.
Really?
Yes, I looked it up.
So I only did one.
He's quizzing you on your own history.
I only did one Crusade with Van.
Yes.
Oh. Well, I mean, the tape doesn't lie, right?
Right.
Okay.
You love the tape.
Okay, cool.
Lie. It was you. I mean, because Donna Lacey Marshall used to anchor the weekend. Where I remember watching her on the weekend evenings, and apparently she would just walk across the studio and host with Van. And the next year you took over.
Okay.
And Van said in the clip that I think we just showed, he says that she would be coming up later on in the Crusade.
That's right. Yeah.
So
okay. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, she was a great everybody always does a great job hosting this.
Well,
overnight.
my notes are wrong.
Well, trust me, I have been wrong before too, but that's the great thing about videotape.
Right.
You know,
It doesn't
Tape
lie.
don't lie.
it doesn't have an opinion. It just says this is what happened.
Yep.
Well, cool. So I'll update my notes so that I know now.
And what I love about this clip too is it shows the humor in the rapport you're able to have with Joe Arnold. I mean, you can see the teasing that happens on the very first time within the first 2 minutes. It's pretty funny.
Oh my goodness. Well,
So
I
it was the
cannot wait
first
to
year
see
you all had the new 888 phone number. The new-
Okay.
yeah. I don't need. What is the 888 number this year? Do we have an 888?
Yeah. Yep.
So I think it may be different. We'll have
It
to watch the
was.
clip
Yeah,
to see.
it was different.
Yeah, because you did have an 800 number, and then it switched to 888. So
Well, and the phone number switched. Do you know why the phone number switched?
No.
The phone number switched because radio left this building.
Oh, right.
And we shared the 800 number for the Crusade.
Right, because it ended in 8484.
It
That's
was
right. I believe in 97 the number was 8484.
Yeah, it was 1-800-444-8484.
See, I
and
didn't know that. The whole thing.
They would route it into this studio, and yeah. So when we moved out, they had to get an 800 number for the Crusade.
That's why it was new. I see.
Yep.
Just a wealth of information. I'm just taking it all in. All right.
All right, so we're going to take a look at which one here, Joe.
Well, yeah, we can go ahead and watch Joe Arnold's first Crusade in 1999 and just see your all's chemistry the first time you all were hosting together.
Okay. All right, let's take a look at the 99 Crusade here on Crusade 70.
Good morning. I'm Joe Arnold alongside with Steve Kirkland. The 1999 Crusade for Children continues now from the WHAS11 studios at 6th and Chestnut Streets in downtown Louisville. We'll be here for a little over 4.5 hours.
Yes, sir.
Aren't you happy, Steve?
I am excited. Glad to be here.
He's so happy to be alongside me. By the way, I'm the overnight guy with 84 WHAS Radio during the week. Steve Kirkland.
I'm the assistant operations manager all the time at 84 WHAS.
It's not like I just sleep the rest of the time. I actually am working some of the time. But we'll be here all night long to share some features with you from some Crusades past, as well as being able to take your pledges all night long.
That's right. And if you haven't made your contribution, right now is a perfect time to do that to 571-2345 or a new 800 number, 1-888.
It's not 800, it's 888.
Well, it's the same thing.
See, you can't say it's a new 800 number.
It's a new
and then it's an 888 number.
It's 888.
Good.
811 5141. We'll see how many times we can screw that up.
888 811
5141.
5141. I got it.
You got it?
By the way, when you call and make your contribution, you can contribute to the Crusade by MasterCard or Visa, and just call our friendly operators who you see. Hi, everybody. Behind us here, we'll be happy to take your pledge.
And you might notice that our friendly operators are sitting back there doing nothing right now. So please pick up your telephone and give them a reason to call. 571-2345 or 1-888.
Yeah.
811 5141. I did that from
round
memory.
of applause for Steve Crump and got the number right.
Now you're being a smart aleck.
Yes, I am. Hey, thank you very much.
It worked. It worked.
Just to congratulate Steve for his wonderful work giving out the telephone numbers.